vegetables, and
Mm-hmm.
we used to make it instead of the traditional meat. So my mom learned because my family was in the military. So
Mm.
while they were living on base, my mom learned how to make lumpia from a lady, and in turn, my mom taught her how to make spaghetti. Yeah, because she wouldn't drain the meat when she would make
Mm-hmm.
spaghetti, so the sauce would be like oily.
Mm.
Hmm.
And so my mom taught her how to make spaghetti, and we learned lumpia. So I've been eating lumpia my whole life.
Have you been eating lumpia with banana ketchup?
What
I
the
have.
hell is
Banana
banana
what
ketchup?
now?
Okay,
Pardon
so
me?
history lesson. Back in World War II, when America was occupying the Philippines for a while, in the Philippines we don't have tomatoes. Like it wasn't a thing. So when they
Yeah.
wanted to make ketchup, like we don't have enough tomatoes to make ketchup. So
The
Filipino
logical
people would
answer
add
was, of course,
bananas to it,
banana.
and pretty much it banana ketchup you can get it in it comes in like one of those glass, like, old fashioned type of jars. Yeah, there you go, that you had to like hit it from the bottom, and it tastes like ketchup but just a little bit sweeter.
Well, that
You
actually
don't
sounds
really
really good.
you don't
I
taste like banana, but it's called banana ketchup because it has like bananas in it.
I can't stand bananas, but I would try this.
I would
Oh,
try
it's
it.
really good. This that
Banana.
you eat this with lumpia, and that's the thing. You can also get that in a spicy version if you like spicy.
I was
But
gonna say, I found
I
pictures of
don't like the
spicy.
spicy version. I just get the original kind.
I'm now gonna look for this in the markets that
Do
are
it.
around here. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna try
Honestly,
it.
I would try it. This seems like this doesn't seem that bad. This seems kind of like a move.
Banana ketchup.
Is it like?
Do they-
I'm trying to imagine that flavor, and all I can imagine is like
What's the
katsu
texture
sauce.
like?
Yes.
It's a little bit thicker than ketchup.
Do they grow red bananas?
No.
I mean, red bananas are a thing. But
Red bananas
they're
are real?
raspberry flavored. Yeah,
No.
they're not.
What the fuck they are? They
Yeah,
look like
they're
apples, but
natural.
fucked up. Look at these boys. They do
But I
not
don't
look
think they
real,
would use them in this.
Oh my
so-
god.
They do look like apples.
but fucked up.
Who ruined the apples?
It deformed a pomegranate.
What the fuck? That's wild.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
that's
feel like they would
crazy.
just use regular bananas for ketchup. But yeah, I
Well-
have a severe hate for bananas, but I really want to try this.
No, this you can't. It doesn't taste banana at all. It just tastes like regular ketchup, just with a little bit like of sweetness to it.
Hmm.
It has nothing to do with bananas, really,
Let's
even
see
though it's
this
called banana
picture.
ketchup.
And I'm gonna do it. Totally gonna do it. I'm
Yeah,
gonna find it. Even if I have to buy it online, I'm gonna find
do it.
That sounds like the move,
It's the
honestly.
best. It's
and
the
then
best
I'm gonna
for
try it
lumpia.
with lumpia. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's essentially we boil. It's probably gonna sound gross, but we boil chicken
Mhm.
and then we shred it up very fine, and then we mix green beans and carrots with it.
Ooh.
Yeah, we shred those up and mixed it with it, and then we add an egg,
An
and
egg.
just kind of like and then we salt, pepper, or whatever, and then
Very
just
interesting.
roll it up into the lumpia wrappers, and
Dang.
That sounds pretty
Like
good, man.
a little chicken pot pie.
yeah,
It does sound like a chicken pot pie,
And
yeah.
we just fry them like regular lumpia, and
Yum.
there we go.
Well, I think that's enough banana ketchup-based talk for today, gang. So I think we'll hop right into it.
There
only
is
thing-
no such thing as a no.
The only thing I wanted to mention was that I scrolled down a little bit too far on red banana, and I
Oh,
found
no.
out the exist. Well, I didn't scroll down that far. Don't worry. And well, first of all, it does have some interesting things on there, but that's besides the point. I found the existence of a red banana NFT. NFTs. I can't believe that it's just pictures of bananas. In case anybody's curious.
Ooh, why?
Why?
In case you wanted to pay $5,000 for the JPEG of a banana that was photoshopped red, then you too can do that.
That's so dumb.
Oh yes, NFTs, everybody's favorite pyramid scheme. All right, I just had to spend the beginning of this recording bullying NFTs because I am contractually obligated to do so at every single possible turn of my life, just because it's fun. Anyways, all right, let me pull up all my nonsense for this session. Let me see why people are messaging me on Discord for no reason.
The true Discord experience.
Yeah, it really is.
Wow, thanks for letting me know about absolutely nothing I don't care about. Okay, thank you. Alright. Who wants to do a brief recap of last session? Also, hey, speaking of last session, I am sorry I did not put it on YouTube earlier, gang. I realized it has been on YouTube for the past week. However, it was set to private. So I published it today, this afternoon. It was published. So you can go see it now. Yes, I had it all week up there. And I saw that message in the chat when I was at work, I think. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. What? Oh, no, I wasn't at work. It was because it was sent today. So yeah, I saw that message in the chat at some point. And I was like, I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube, but I'll check in a little bit. And then I went on YouTube and saw it was unlisted. And I was like, wow, thanks, YouTube. Nice job, man.
Keeping you safe.
Yeah, keeping me safe, that's for sure. Keeping me safe from myself and the 3 people that watch my YouTube channel. I wouldn't want my friend Nick knowing about the 1 in 4 D&D games he watches from us. Oh, no. Anyways. Who wants to do a recap of last session?
I can.
Do it.
Okay.
If you can, then you will.
Oh boy. So we learned a little bit of information via Finch's friend, who was a ghost, question mark? But basically found a secret passage straight to the Dark Weaver. We decided to rest for the night. We spent a lot of time planning plans, which immediately fell apart, as plans often do. But we went in with great intentions. We built a spider web barrier around us while we slept, and attached a couple strands of the web to Eric so he wouldn't run off without us knowing, and slept for the night. And then we headed back down underground to try and polymorph the Darkweaver into a giant alligator, and so Vesper could try and do her thing. And then we couldn't see anything because it kept putting the lights out, and it was kind of everywhere in the shadows, but Helio got up a storm sphere, which was awesome, and Ava was paralyzed and charmed or frightened or something. We finally got Ava back up and running. And then, Eric swooped in at the last minute to finish off the Darkweaver and probably turn on us, and we're just like, nah.
Yeah, and now
polymorphed him into an alligator.
Although I still question the decision. I mean, me personally, I questioned the decision to turn him into an alligator, but we'll see how that goes. Listen, man.
I was kind of wondering why we did that myself.
Oh, yeah, I was like,
something
man,
dangerous?
Yeah,
Really?
rabbit seems like a really good option,
Well, we needed it to have enough hit points that it wouldn't die.
Yeah, a giant alligator, I think, is what they decided on.
A
giant alligator?
None of us had seen a shark before.
And we all came to the agreement that if you flip an alligator over on its back, it goes docile.
Oh, I forgot about that
What?
part of the
Wait,
conversation.
isn't it
I don't even remember that part. I don't either.
Spinning you over?
Yeah.
Like an alligator rolls,
Well-
how they...
They saw a video once or something. I don't remember. Right?
No, someone brought up
no,
the fact that Critical Role.
Yes, that was me.
Yeah,
In the summer
It
they did
would
that.
be you.
This must have been. I mean, like, there was a point during that little convo where I went and got pretzels. That must have been during that because I don't recall that at all.
Yeah, we talked about how in Alexandria Unlimited that one of the people playing in the game was like, this happens to alligators in real life because I have personal experience. And so the DM was like, okay, if you can flip this alligator on its back, it'll go to sleep. And so
you have to keep it on its back for at least like 10 seconds or something, and then it'll go docile. But as this little GIF shows, they can twist and turn very easily.
They like break your neck that way. That's how they.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they spin around in the water, like they roll about, and then that's kind of how they get you. Like they spin you around.
The assumption, at least that Ava and I were working under, was it needed to be something like sturdy enough to take damage without dropping it to 0, because then he would revert back.
Because Helio is supposed to heal it
when
it takes damage, so that by the time it gets to the point where it just dies, it doesn't lose all of its.
Why not just make it like an elephant or something that doesn't do much damage but is beefy? Ooh, a whale.
I think according to D&D, elephants have like 12 hit points.
Elephants have like 12? What the fuck?
No, okay, that was just a guess based off of things like moose have like 12 hit points.
What the fuck?
Yeah, elephants aren't as hardy in D&D because you can get them as traveling companions.
And I think Vesper has to be able to grapple whatever it is.
Yeah.
So. Elephant would be interesting for sure.
Like grappling a giant alligator.
At the end of the session, you guys polymorphed Eric into the gator, so does that mean we're killing Eric via my ability?
Well, okay. I strategically ended the session last week before anybody could say what they're polymorphing that man into. So when I take Finch into a secret channel here, I'm going to give you guys just a bit of extra time to consider your vampire your vampire to alligator plan.
Well, I will say part of the vampire to alligator plan was that 1, Finch could make it smaller with enlarge reduce, easier to grapple.
Okay.
And 2, it is currently still in 2 area of effect spells, and so if it's something smaller, it will just be out before they can cancel it.
Good idea. I have an idea. Okay. Well, we'll talk about it when Squid and Kirsten go.
Okay.
I got an idea.
Oh.
All right. Kirsten, I'm stealing you now. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Come with me to a magical land. Oh boy. Hey.
Who's Finch's dead friend?
Finch's dead friend. We're going to learn all about Finch's dead friend here in a second. So, I'm going to give you a brief, in-depth recap, so that way you know a bit more about what you're walking into. So, basically, long story short, your friends were poking about. They were poking about Bardrite Inn, and they found a ballroom, like an abandoned, locked-up ballroom that had like a magical spell placed on the door, so they couldn't get in. After doing tons of stupid things to it, including but not limited to throwing silver dust at the door to try and short-circuit the lock. I don't know. They did a lot there. And after fiddling with it for a while, they busted in, and once they entered, I have to... Well, first let me pull up some ambiance, some music ambiance, so that way we can have a true vibe. And then I'm going to give you a fun... No, not that. You're going to get a fun magical item and, potentially, a new lead on a plot hook that I'm going to...
Can you hear sound from my mic right now, like when I'm not talking?
No, I can't.
Okay. Because I see it lighting up, I'm trying to make sure I'm not getting any background sound.
I'll let you know if there's any background sound. So far, it's not. If there is, it's not that bad.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go get a bottle of water. I'm gonna move you back with them really quick so that I can go get a bottle of water, and then I'll be right back. Sound
I'm
good?
gonna wash my hands then. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Do you want me to move you back with them, or do you just want to stay here?
Stay here.
Okay. Okay, I'm back. Are you there?
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Hey.
All right.
Alright.
Perfect show. All right. So, I will run down. Let me pull up my notes, actually. It would help if I had my notes. Go.
Ew.
It's just, don't worry. It's the
I still gotta
ambiance.
say hi.
You gotta say hi, I guess. Yeah, fair enough. Although you weren't here when I was making fun of the bots for being
Aw,
terrible.
no, don't make fun of the bots.
All right.
I can't help it.
Yes, so as you and your friends enter the ballroom, so if any time you need any of your friends during this conversation, I don't think you will. It's very brief, this event, so I don't think you'll need any of them. But if you need any of them to give you input on something, I will drag them in here very briefly, and they can help you with something if you need it. Blah, 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 blah. But let me spam this a few times just so that it plays for long enough. Thank you, Earbot. There we go. So, as you guys enter the dark and dusty ballroom, it's like caked over in spider webs and these like very like fancy stained glass windows depicting kind of like abstract scenes of different dimensions: the Feywild, the Shadowfell, the elemental planes. They all kind of like a faint light glimmers through them. But standing in the middle of the room, I guess not standing, but sort of dancing in the middle of the room, is a figure like cloaked in like a white kind of robe. That's kind of like tattered and torn. And they dance around, and this kind of like eerie, sort of elegant violin music, somewhat similar to what you're hearing right now, although I'm going to turn it down slightly because it's a little bit loud on my end, is like you can hear them playing this. And your friends, whether you chose to or not, your friends approached it just to see what was going on. And the closer they got, the closer the image began to like fade out, and it was replaced by, let me find a picture of who you guys saw.
I can't tell if I want them to have seen someone or not.
Let's find their picture. I know I've got it somewhere in my computer. Full of nonsense. Here it is. I'll DM it to you really quick. You see this figure in the middle of the room, and you would immediately recognize that as Yahala.
Oh shit.
She's dancing around in the middle of the room with this very, very fancy violin, which you would know as the Queen of Roses, which is her like special violin. It's like it's like a powerful magical artifact which she like kept very close to her person at all times. And it's been a hot minute since you've seen her. She disappeared on the night when the Dawn Chorus was like burned to the ground. So it's been a hot minute, but here she is, kind of in this like spiritual kind of astral projecty kind of form. And upon approaching her, she like the violin music comes to like a big climax, and she stares like towards the door, like almost like directly at you, and in a quiet voice she simply says, "You came."
Oh shit. Yahala?
She'll look at you with like a sort of like disappointed and kind of like upset gaze, and you'll kind of see that guilt is kind of like it pangs across her face, and she kind of like forces out like a half smile, and it's at that moment when you realize that her gaze, though it seems like she's like looking right into your eyes, you kind of like move out of the way for a second just to kind of like see if she would still like if she would track your movement, and sure enough she doesn't. She looks like straight towards the doorway of the room. And so then it's at this point when you kind of realize like this must be some kind of like illusion or something, and she follows it up by simply saying, "Save it. I know what's coming. Your incessant reminders aren't making this decision any easier." And after a moment, it seems as though she's having a conversation with somebody else that you're either not hearing or that is not being projected in the same way. But she seems to be having this conversation, and though the words, like, you can see, like, words are coming out of her mouth, you only can pick up the occasional, like glimmer of, like, what she's saying. You can't hear anything of what the other speaker's saying, only what she's saying. And she begins talking about something she regrets. She's talking about, like, some kind of regret she has. But after a while, she says this crystal clear line: "If what you say is true, if she really is dead, then that's not how things were supposed to happen. It should have been different." And it's at this point when her look changes from one of sort of like, kind of like disappointment to one of panic and despair, and tears well up in her eyes. She like kind of like looks like kind of like at her hands, still holding the violin, and then she looks back up at whatever or whoever was at the door, before dropping the violin to the ground. As it kind of like it falls to the ground, lets out like a loud kind of twangy noise, and sits there on the floor, as real as like you are, you know, like it's not, it appeared kind of astral at first, but once it falls to the ground, it appears very real. And then she says, "There might still be time. Hurry! I know someone in Neverwinter who might be able to help. On the shores of Black Lake." And then she sprints away, and as she opens the door at the head of the room, it slams closed behind her, and the whole room kind of like lights up for a moment. The stained glass windows all begin to kind of like glow as if there's like a sun right behind them. And the only other thing that you can see beyond that point is that there's a single kind of light shining through one of the stained glass windows, basically like spotlighting the violin on the ground.
Ooh. Can I pick up the violin?
You can pick up the violin. But when you do, I need you to give me a wisdom save.
Ooh. No. Yeah, I should have thought that through.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, you go to pick up the violin, and you don't feel anything change. But you are going to have some homework now that you failed that save, so I'll get that to you in a second.
Ooh. Okay.
You do have a little bit of homework once you now have failed that save. But, blah, 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 blah. Let me find the item itself. And so you pick it up, and it's this very sturdy... Let me send you a picture of it, actually. I've got a picture of this violin as well. Oh, if my computer will let me find it, that would be cool. Come on, computer. Computadora. There it is. Alright. There we go. So, you pick it up, and it looks vaguely like this.
Ooh. Okay.
And...
Can I...
Yes?
Oh, sorry, you go.
Okay, so you kind of are inspecting it, and it's this one of a kind, like, true, like, it is it's hard to describe it like as a DM just because it's so unique in how it sounds and how it feels. Like, if you were like, you know, a bard, you know, like proper, like in tune with instruments, you would know that this is a very high quality thing. And you have no idea how long it's been sitting here on the ground or in this room or whatever. But it feels and looks like, you know, amazing. And once you kind of are like holding it in your hands, you remember one of its functions. It's got a very secret function, which you only saw in use a couple of times, like when the Dawn Chorus would come under attack from like roving bandits and things. But you did see it in action nonetheless. So what you do is you go and you hit a button on the back of it, a small switch that looks like a engraved flower petal, and it will do a cool little maneuver here once I find it on my... There we go.
$5 or less.
Blah, 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 blah. Gotta find the picture. There we go. It unfolds into a proper crossbow.
Yo. Okay, that's kind of cool.
So yes, it unfolds into this crossbow with a like blue kind of magical string that draws from one end of the kind of like rose vine looking thing to the other.
Yeah.
And as you hold the I don't know, the violin stick, when you hold the violin stick in your hand, it changes from a kind of like, just a standard violin stick to a kind of like blue force, like a bow, I guess is what it's called.
Yeah.
You hold it in your hands, and it changes from kind of like being a standard violin bow to a blue kind of magical arrow. And you know that you could slot it into the crossbow at any time and launch it. And with that, I'm also going to give you access to the sheet that it has. The cool weapon that has some cool stats. I have to give it to you. Finch. Finch. There you go. Alright. But my only other homework for you from this interaction, aside from the fact that, if I were you, I would strongly look into convincing your group of at least thinking about going to Neverwinter, to investigate whatever it was that your friend was talking about. I would also need you to, like, if your character had to pick one person that they, like, love, like, proper love, not, like, love as in, like, you're my brother, I love you, but, like, love as in romantic love, who would it be and why? They don't have to be from the party, necessarily, they can be anybody. And, yes, you can pick anybody, they can be from the party, listen, don't let me stop you.
So, like, someone they have a crush on, or...
Yeah. Somebody that they would be, like, somebody that Finch would be willing to give a lot, if not their life, to protect.
Okay.
And once you determine that, send me a message with who it is. I want to know specifically who it is, but also why. And once you give me that, then I will give you some more information about this weapon.
Alright. That's interesting.
But other than that, that doesn't super matter for right now, so don't worry too much about it. It would be cool if you could think of it by the end of the session, but if not, don't worry about it. But with that, I will fast forward us to the present now. We go. We're back
Hey!
to the present.
That was quick.
We're back to the present, everybody.
Aha.
Let me
Here.
pull up my
Shake.
my new notes. There we go.
Oh, fuck. I'll be back.
Uh-oh.
That didn't sound good at all.
I just burned the shit out of my finger.
Oh no!
no.
Burned it? How'd you burn your finger?
Wait, what
I'll
did you put
explain
it
when I get
on?
back.
Yes, go take care of yourself.
Well, I hope you guys have a plan. Once a person gets back, I will see what your guys' new plan is.
How much of what happened with Finch and Yahala did, like, we see?
You guys would have seen all of it.
All of it?
All of it. Although, if you're going to go back and watch the conversation we had, like on the recording, which I'm assuming you're going to do, Joe,
Yeah.
the only thing your characters won't be privy to is you'll know what it is. Like, there's something in there that your characters won't be privy to, but towards the very end, there's some homework for Kirsten to do about Finch, but obviously your characters are not going to be privy to that information.
Okay. Well, is there anything important that we should know for our characters, like, right now, since technically it's already happened?
Only thing that I would say is important is that Yahala, while she was talking, she mentioned going to Neverwinter, and specifically Black Lake within Neverwinter.
Black Lake. She didn't say why, just you need to go here.
She sounded like she was in a hurry. She talked about somebody dying, and she said that there's still time to possibly save them. We need to go to Black Lake. And then she sprinted off, and bada bing, bada boom.
Someone dying, go to Neverwinter / Black Lake. You.
I'm back. I'm sorry about
Welcome back. All right.
How'd you burn your finger?
So I attempted to light one of those Bath and Body Works candles that a friend
Oh
got me.
no.
And I have to use 2 matches because otherwise it takes too long. So I lit it, and then it went out, and then one of the little match heads fell off and landed on my shirt.
Oh no.
I was like, well, I don't want to burn my shirt, so I'll just pick it up.
Oh no.
Oh no, don't do it.
I picked it up with my fingers, and it did not work for me.
Don't feel so bad because I did something very similar when I was cooking spaghetti, and one of the pieces of spaghetti, like when I put it in the pan or in the pot, had fallen onto the stove, and we have one of those like glass electric stoves. And in my mind, I was like, "Oh, I can just pick it up with my fingers."
Ooh.
But no, it was, on the part that was hot. But because of my hand, I don't have feeling in my middle finger. Like anything I touch, whether it's hot, cold, texture, whatever, I cannot legit feel it.
What?
So I had my finger down there for a good few seconds before I was like, this is not right. And I lifted it up and I was like, oh.
That's like on like one of those lists of like lame superpowers, is like no feeling in your middle finger.
I mean,
Yeah.
you can flip anyone off with no repercussions.
I guess, yeah, you can. Yeah, there is nothing they can do to stop you, except for, I guess, the rest of your body. They can hurt that, but the finger, no.
It's really nice when I go to the doctor and they need to prick your finger for, like those blood tests. I'm just
Right.
How about it, Huss? I can't feel a thing.
Oh, alright, so let me pull in some music, some combat music, because I guess we're technically still in initiative here. Technically speaking, I think.
Oh, and I have a question. Since the Dark Weaver died, am I technically not frightened anymore?
Yes, you're not frightened. Everybody,
Yay.
you can't be frightened of a corpse. I mean, I guess you can be, but, don't worry. You're not frightened of a corpse.
Now I'm gonna create just a regular old, corpse that, if you see it, you're scared of it, but it doesn't do anything else. Has the frightened condition on it, so...
Yes.
Yeah, you see it and you're just like, that's a scary corpse! I don't like that. Alright. Let me pull in some combat music to wrap up this encounter. Actually, you know what? We're not gonna use this combat music. We're gonna use Dung Defender. Why wouldn't we start the session with Dung Defender? Come on now.
How dare you?
Look at me. So presumptuous. Not starting with Dung Defender.
Dang.
Almost makes me upset that I didn't think of that. There we go. There we go. Alright. So yes, I guess we've just gotten done with Eric killing the thing and attempting to do some kind of fun magic ritual to suck up all its power. Look at him go. But, oh no! He's been polymorphed. Oh beans. Oh man. Descending combat order. Okay, hey. Don't worry about rolling a new initiative, because this is not going to last long, I figure.
We decided he's a giant boar.
He's a giant boar. Okay, I have to find a token for... I have to find stats for giant boar.
We can use that website.
Giant
Just
boar.
put on.
I got it, don't worry. I got giant boar.
Okay.
Giant boar, and then let's... Should I find a token for giant boar? Let's just find up a picture of a boar.
we're leaving the giant boar the way it is, or are we? Did we decide if Finch was gonna reduce it? Was that a thing?
I think so.
Okay.
To give it disadvantage if it needs it, if we need it.
And do you want me to reduce the boar or enlarge you?
You know, does it matter if which is like the disadvantage is already there because he's polymorphed, right?
No.
No. The disadvantage comes from the reduce.
Yeah.
But if I
let me
entangle it, it
reduce.
might.
Would I get advantage if I'm enlarged, or would it just be still straight?
Can you link me polymorph so I know if it...
Yeah,
if you-
I just did.
Oh, look at the little boy! He's so cute! Ah, he will die.
Wait, am I on the right place in the map?
Oh, you might
Oh,
not
no.
be. Oh no, yeah, you might be out in the void, where you're not supposed here.
Hello, darkness.
Welcome to the real world now. Real world. Real world. There you
Oh
are.
boy.
Death to Chibi Boar.
Also, I can. It's a boar, right?
Yes.
Do you want me to stun him first?
I mean,
Because I still have the like fancy eye trick thing that I can just bam, bada booey.
yeah, I guess that would help with the initial. What? Oh, Finch needs to roll initiative.
Oh,
Oh, Finch, roll initiative.
Roll high.
10.
Man, if I wanted to be cruel, I could tell you that this spell does not affect Eric, but we're not going to be cruel today.
I was wondering that myself.
It does not affect shape changers. Yeah, I'll let it polymorph right here. It says the spell has no effect on a shape changer.
Oh.
Well, I'll let you guys do it just because. Listen, we're almost done with this place, and it'll be fun to see Eric turn into a boar and then get disintegrated. I think that's fun. So, but
And we've been hating on him for so long. We need this satisfaction.
He was a pig all the time.
Alright, so it has the hit points of the boar and not of the vampire. That's what I wanted to know. Alright. Okie dokie. With that out of the way, let me sort by descending. I didn't mean to do what I just did. Liddy, you're up.
That's me. I'm going to shift back to tiny little gnome.
Become
And-
gnome.
Become gnome. Cast become gnome on myself. And I'm going to dismiss my flaming sphere that I think is still up. And
Yes, it
I'm
is.
going to cast Entangle,
Okay.
which has, let me check what the 20-foot square. So I'll probably have it centered like somewhere around here so that it's Vesper can get in there without having to go through too much of the entangled area.
Okay. Let me get... I'll just make a square. I can't be bothered. There we go. Green square. I think that's good. How big is it supposed to be?
20-foot square.
20 feet. Let's see if
So
I...
20 per side.
20 per side, thank you. A wee bit smaller, although I don't think it really matters that much.
Yeah.
Close enough, alright. He's in it.
Yeah. So he has to make a strength saving throw.
Alright, giant boar. Fail me now. Giant. I had the giant boar. Why did I not? Giant boar, please. There we go. Thank you, giant boar. Give me that strength save, giant boar. $15. He fails.
Yup. So he is restrained.
And just
he
like
can
that.
use his action to try and escape the restraint
Okay.
on his turn.
Where's like the net? There it is. Restrained. Alright, Vesper, you're up. I already know what you're gonna do.
Heck yeah! I'm gonna throw my maul down onto the ground, and I'm going to take a running leap and try to jump over. This is not real Helio, right? This is your...
No, blue Helio over here is fake Helio.
Oh, that's fake Helio. This is real Helio. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and make a jumping leap over real Helio and do like a flip in the air and jump onto the back of this boar and ride it like a little rodeo bull and try and grapple it. I don't know how big its neck is for... What is a boar? Is a boar a large creature? It's a giant.
Giant boar
beast.
is a large beast.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get my arms as much as I can around its neck and try to put it into a chokehold and like wrap my legs around its body and lock my legs if I can reach and just kind of hold on to it as long as I can.
Alright, give me that roll.
Bum, bum, bum.
Oh,
Is
well.
this athletics or straight strength?
Give me, I think
When you
straight
grapple
strength.
something.
I think it's straight strength for... Well, I think actually grapple's athletics, but I'm gonna do straight strength because I don't remember off the top of my head. So just do straight strength.
Okay. Oh, that's the wrong.
Generally, athletics versus athletics or acrobatics.
Okay. Well, then you can do athletics. That's fine. Or straight strength. I'm not gonna stop you.
Oh, come on, roll 20. I have to reopen the sheet.
Ooh, I'm gonna just cutting words affect that. I don't even know.
It won't make a difference because it rolled a 1, but would being restrained maybe give it disadvantage?
Oh, come on. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, I can only make this worse for you.
They can only make it worse for the boar.
Not for the boar. Oh, that's a boar's check. I thought that was hers.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I had
no.
to reload roll 20 because my thing did the thing where when you keep it open for too long and then you click back to it, it's just a blank white screen.
Yeah.
You can cutting words the boar's one if you want. That would be fun. I would like it if the boar... Yeah, if the boar rolled like a negative.
Yeah, go ahead.
Cutting words.
Go ahead. Yeah, D6.
1d6 on the boar. He has a -1. Poor boar. He can't even stand up. But Vesper, you do manage to grapple it. Congratulations, you did it.
Alright, well, that initial grapple gives it a 2d12 already, so we're gonna do 9 damage to it initially, of cold damage.
Wow, you predicted that perfectly, didn't you? Calculator. Alrighty. And thus, as you've done plenty of times before now, it begins to freeze itself to the ground, and the now borified Eric, get it, borified. He's like horrified, but whatever. And so he looks at you like, "Oh God, what's happening? What am I? What's going on? Why am I a boar? What are you guys doing?" Like he looks like you, like, "Oh shit, my bamboozle has been bamboozled," is what you see in the boar's eyes. But anything else?
Nope.
Helio.
I don't think I
Oh,
have to
what do
do
you-
anything. No, what?
Finch, you don't have to use reduce or enlarge, because I can just hex him It'll do an extra 1d6, but it'll give him disadvantage on strength checks.
I mean, if you want, I could just try to hypnotic gaze him.
What does
won't
that do?
Anything.
Makes him so he can't do anything. He just has to stand there.
Oh, okay, we'll just do that. Because then that will mean I don't have to do an extra 1d6 every time, and then we'd have to worry about healing him.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
I can also cast Hold Person if you'd rather that.
Oh, that works too.
Helio, are you just gonna sit there and pop open some popcorn?
I'm gonna go play patty cake with myself.
Ah,
No gloating.
Beautiful.
that's a
Nope, I'm just
euphemism.
All right, Spice Wing, you're up.
Right, Spice Wing's gonna drop that spell.
Oh, yeah, I dropped the spell too, just to be sure.
Okay.
And then casually fly over here and land. Just casually.
You're not gonna play patty cake with Helio and himself?
No. Not at all.
He wants to play patty cake with someone else.
Don't be ridiculous. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Ooh.
Anything else
That's
besides casually flying?
That's it. Casually flying.
Casually. Finch, you're up.
Finch is gonna ignore Jack and walk up to the pig and just kind of give it a little stop that look and see if it works. And hypnotic gaze him.
All
Which
right.
is a wisdom saving throw. BC should be 16.
Well, he was close. He was close, but I don't think that negative one's gonna clear that.
Yeah.
Dude, I have the same wisdom as a boar. Or maybe a little bit lower than a boar.
That's how you know you're winning at D&D.
Yeah.
All right.
You sure
He
it's
is
not with
hypnotically
another animal, you're doing
gazed. Let me
something right.
put the hypnotic gaze. There we go. All right. Anything else?
Nope, just gonna stand there and prepare to do that again next round.
Okie dokie. Avocado.
Yeah, just gonna maintain spell and stay where he is.
Okay. Mr. Giant Boar is gonna give me. He can. How can he escape the? Can he even escape the grapple if he's hypnotic gazed?
I don't think so.
If he can't, then I'm.
Incapacitated and visibly dazed.
Yep.
Yeah,
On subsequent turns, you can use your action to maintain this effect.
yeah
Oh.
he is incapacitated
Oh,
completely.
well, then if everybody's cool with it,
Yes.
I think I'm just gonna say that after a couple seconds, you will kill Eric, unless anybody is going to try and save Eric's life for some odd reason. Any takers?
Oh,
Going once,
no.
going twice? I know,
Exactly.
I know you guys are really jonesing to save his life. Alright. And with that, after holding on to him for just a good old couple seconds, both Vesper and this giant boar, what was once Eric, will envelop into like a big old thing of ice and will freeze over. And after a second or two, Vesper will emerge, and Eric, or at least the boar Eric, will not. And all that will remain is a kind of pile of like flesh and tendrils, some horns from the boar, and the only other thing that will happen is there will be a small country hat made out of like straw that will flutter down and land atop that like the pile perfectly.
I
steal the hat.
check a produce flame at the hat. Oh, never mind. If someone
Set it on fire. We can set it on fire.
All right,
Toss it. Yeah.
Finch will toss it up into the air.
toss it up in the air, just like shooting gallery the hat.
Oh,
Hey,
All right, and with that, let me delete this. Let's move Eric back because he's dead now. Now you have to stare at Eric again. Dead Eric. All right. once that happens, the whole
Just for
place...
good measure, we'll just pour some holy water on it. Just for good measure.
The whole place will begin to sort of like tremble and shake as though there's an earthquake happening. And just as you kind of like all like are like trying to like regain your footing, except for I guess my fairy friends who are just kind of like, oh, I guess there's shaking happening now.
Why is everybody moving so weirdly?
But the rest of you kind of like are trying to regain your footing. But the second you do, like it kind of like settles down just enough for you guys to get your sea legs on. You hear a loud horn come from above you, which you can only assume / remember is Harshnag blowing the horn of getting you the hell out of here.
Yes, I know it anywhere.
The horn of nope the
convenience.
fuck out.
Yeah.
The horn of getting you all out. And let's take you guys back to the map. Welcome back to the map. Doesn't it feel nice? After a sort of brief flash of light, you guys all kind of get thrown to the ground, and you guys all kind of collide with the stone pavement. Even my fairy friends are not resisted to this effect. Everybody falls to the ground, and you're all kind of like blinded and dazed for a moment. But all of you guys awake outside of Ironford Keep, still injured, and kind of tired from your battle, but unharmed. And it seems as though there's no more spiders about. Look at that. You're on the Prime again. But you look across the river, and though you see Harshnag, you do not see a barge right in. You only see just a kind of like half of a crater with Harshnag kind of lying down in it.
What do we see the priests and the druid peoples and like the citizens from the grove?
Yep. You can see kind of also where like if you go over to investigate the grove and kind of like get the people out, be like, hey, I think we're good. You can even see where the crater was, where it like meets the like now like torn up grass a little bit. You can kind of see like it wasn't a perfect slot back in, There's definitely like a little bit of like there's a couple like inches of clearance where you can maybe like slide your hand down in there and be like, that's a weird hole. But whatever.
There's a joke there somewhere. She said. Yeah, there we
go. And yeah, the only other thing now is that there's a like semicircle lake that would encompass where Barge Right Inn was, but now there is no Barge Right Inn, simply a Womford village. Everybody is like, yay, you did it, now leave, get out of here, go, shoo, be gone, plot, continue, go.
Just kind of floating there like, this would make a good pond.
Finch is mourning the loss of the inn. It was at some point very awesome, but it's no longer.
At least they don't have to worry about the Zentarum in here anymore.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's no way to indicate how much time has passed since we've been in the limbo, has it? Not until we get to a major town.
One of my druid friends, give me a nature or survival check. Actually, just survival.
I'm gonna roll that Ava is not paying enough attention to roll this.
Oh.
He is. He's just sulked off into a corner and is at the moment sort of just gently patting himself down.
Alright. But as for Liddy, you can guess it's been maybe like you think it's been on the shorter end of your 3-day like predicted time, your 3-day ETA. You gauge it's on the shorter time. Just kind of like on your internal clock, and you kind of like look at the foliage. You like pet the grass and say, "Hello, grass. How many moons have you seen in the past 2 days? 2? Okay." And then the grass, and then you tell the grass to go on its merry way. But
I do have small beach speak, so.
Yes, you gauge it's been on the shorter end, but you're not entirely sure.
I tell my friends this.
I guess that's
Well-
as good as it could have gone.
Yeah. I mean, we're not too far behind, and we saved the town.
So, do we want to stick around and rest one more night before we actually take off, or do we just want to go?
Is it like early in the day, or
It's pretty much high noon.
might as well
It's
get some traveling in?
noon.
Do you have the ability, Liddy, to do a grove for us to rest in if we leave now?
Yeah, I can do it once a day, and I've rested since the last time I did it.
Okay. So we can take this road that leads northeast to Red Lodge, I'm assuming. Do we have a map? Was that ever a thing? Did we ever get a map?
You guys have a map.
Okay, we have a map. Well, if we're going to Neverwinter, we can take this road to Red Larch, spend a night there, and then take the long road up to Tribal, and then start going east on the trail to High Road, and then to Neverwinter. Unless we want to just find a shorter distance. However, I don't know if Jack, Lydia, and Ava are aware of this, because this was before we met you. But there are rumors of a possible dragon in the Sword Mountains. So we might want to best avoid that if we follow the road instead of going straight to there through the forest and the mountains.
For the GM. Question for the GM. Would we know what dragon lives in that mountain?
I was told by a dwarf it was a white dragon from the north who likes to come down to the Sword Mountains occasionally, and I can't remember if there was a sighting of it recently. Let me see if
I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly without pulling up my notes, I know what you're talking about, but I'd have to pull up my notes to find it specifically. I think that's just old rumors, like not like a recent thing, like kind of just like, oh, legend says, kind of thing.
So this would be a old white dragon.
Old.
Yeah, we should avoid that.
Yes, I agree.
a dragon that commands lightning and snow with a world-ending goal. Once in a while found in Sword Mountains, but calls Great Worm Cavern her home. Apparently Bruno Battlehammer fought them at Mithril Hall.
Bruno Battlehammer.
But it is found, I guess, once in a while in the Sword Mountains. But I can't remember if there was rumor of a dragon in the area, because we assumed that's where Awen, Lady Agatha, and Feindar left to go battle with a dragon so that Lady Agatha could get the hammer from the skeleton in the well in the swamp. But that's just our assumption. So if we want to just try to avoid major combat for a while, since we've been through a whole lot, we can just try and follow the road.
I mean, if we know Lady Agatha and Feindar are already up there, it wouldn't hurt to go find them. Make sure
I mean,
they,
we don't know
survive.
specifically. This is just hearsay, and our theories. I mean, it does make sense. It would make sense, but I don't know if we want to spend any more time looking for them instead of just heading to Neverwinter, like what your friend said.
I will also remind you, you guys lost the scent of Lady A, I think at Amphail? I'm pretty sure it was at Amphail.
Yeah, they disappeared from the church suddenly. So we don't even know if that's where they went. I just assumed, but I mean, they could have done something else in relation to Zyma, so it's all speculation from here.
I'm like resisting the urge to shout out something in her voice. Like,
Can you do it just at least once?
no,
Ooh,
I gotta wait.
No.
You gotta wait.
You gotta wait.
Aww,
You gotta
I don't
wait.
even know what she sounds like.
You will eventually. You will
wonderful.
eventually.
Yeah.
Actually, Shady, I might get in touch. I have some Lady A updates for you. Some Lady A,
Well, that's
some Lady
exciting.
Ape dates. I don't know.
Some
There's
miss
Lady
her.
Ape.
I miss Lady A. She was so much fun.
Lady A is not gone. Don't worry. Lady A is a character
Good.
that may at one point return, and by may I mean almost positively will.
Yay.
Oh yeah, that's right, because Finch and I were like jokingly saying, what if Bruiser is Zyma?
Oh my god, what if Bruiser's... No. Please don't
Hey,
let Bruiser be
Do we have
Zyma.
an egg roll?
Oh, egg roll!
Hey, egg roll. Okay, give me an egg roll. Please don't be 100. Please don't be 100.
Chicken table.
You already did
chicken
one side
table.
quest. No second side quest. Okay,
11.
let's pull up my chicken table. Give me a minute.
Chicken table.
Oh, I already know this one. Never mind. I lied. I know this one off the top of my head. All right.
Oh no.
So Bruiser will lay one kind of normal-sized egg, but will continuously lay a couple more eggs, all of them, like, of increasingly weird sizes, but each one perfectly balanced on its center of mass, so that way it, like, balances each way. It creates, like, a weird little stack that, like, goes up about, like, I would say 7 eggs tall. And each one is like weirdly like one of them is like a squat flat oval, some of them are like long stretched ovals, but they all like perfectly balance on their center of mass to like stand up. Like very precarious, but they do stand.
Bruiser has a weird butt.
Are we keeping
Yeah,
all
Lydia
of
is
these
just like
eggs?
watching in fascination.
Here's a
you-
good picture of what I'm kind of.
I always keep his eggs. I keep them in a list.
Oh, you're just keeping them for sentimental value? We're never
Well-
going to do anything with them.
I do sometimes eat them.
Oh, you eat them?
Yeah. I mean, they haven't proven to be dangerous yet. Except for some of them were jewels, and one of them did seem to be made from flesh.
Oh, that's exciting.
Ugh.
The rest of
Big
them
starting
fine.
off the flesh.
Did you eat the flesh one? I'm asking
No.
for a friend.
No, of course not. It was a weird flesh egg.
A flag, if you will.
A flag, if you will.
Okay, so following the roads to Red Larch and then to Tribor, then to Neverwinter? Yes?
Yeah.
Sounds like as good a plan as any. It's what I would have thought of had I been in your position. So now that I am, I think it's a great idea.
But here's the other thing.
No other things. This is a good plan.
So we were supposed to be heading up to Mirabar. But now we're going to head to Neverwinter. And I don't know if it would be wiser for us to bring Harshnag with us, or to send him to Mirabar ahead of us, to speak with Ulshana and the Sparkling... What was it? Sparkling Council of Stones? Or Sparkling...
Man, I know the answer to that. Give me a minute. Again. Give me a minute.
I mean, Harshnag is his own
Council of
person.
Sparkling Stones.
We can just ask to see what he wants to do. That might help.
He has
clear
an
it up.
opinion about lots of things.
And Celine, Ramur.
Well,
In
that's
this-
cool. Rock balancing?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what Bruiser's like egg stack looked like.
Cool.
It might be wiser just to ask Harshnag to go to Mirabar to at least speak with them, so that they at least know as soon as possible, instead of us just going up to Neverwinter and them never knowing, and then all of these giant happenings still occurring. And at least they would know before we arrive, so that by the time we do arrive, they would have done some sort of research or something that could help us when we eventually head to the Eye of the All-Father. But only I guess Harshnag agrees with this. I don't know if you would want to continue traveling with us.
He's got opinions.
He does.
Do you guys want to ask Harshnag?
I don't. Personally,
Oh,
I find
good.
him deplorable.
Actually, Ava, could you do it? You're much closer to Harshnag, and I think he'll be more open to you more.
He looks a little bit startled, but he'll nod and he'll walk over to Harshnag.
Okay. You cross over the kind of like stone bridge, which, like everything else in town, seems a little bit like shaken by the whole like being transported between dimensions thing. But it still holds.
It.
Yeah, it still holds weight. You know, it still like lets you cross. It kind of is a little bit more rickety than before, even more rickety than before. But you get over there and you see Harshnag, who is kind of just like, he's sitting down, looking over kind of towards the town, and he sees you approach, and he'll give you like a big giant wave.
Harshnag, we're making plans to go north, and Finch was told that she needs to go to Neverwinter. We wanted to know if you wanted to continue to Mirabar without us.
He'll put his hands into his snowy beard, and he'll think for a second before saying, "The giant threat isn't on the Sword Coast. It's deeper inland. If I'm gonna travel with you, I want to fight giants."
I'm not sure what awaits us at Neverwinter, but from the sounds of it, we won't be able to deal with the giant situation for some time, which is why we wanted to suggest splitting up.
He'll listen, and he'll like, because he kind of seems like when you say splitting up, he'll like nod as though like that sounds like a good idea, but he'll wait for you to see say where you think you should go.
Sorry, what was that?
He'll wait till he'll nod as though okay, I like the idea of splitting up, but where would you want me to go? What's the plan? Where do you want to meet? That kind of thing.
I think the others intend for you to go to Mirabar ahead of us, to meet the Sparkling Stone Council? Question mark?
Close enough.
And as soon as we finish our business in Neverwinter, we will join you there.
he'll nod, and he'll pick up his pet sheep named Mir. Obviously, everybody has to remember Mir, best character.
Yes.
And
Well, aside from Bruiser.
and he'll kind of he'll hold the sheep up towards kind of like out in front of him, like you hold a cat when you're about to like when you're talking to it, and say like, "Well, Mir, it looks like we have another adventure to go on." And he'll open his bag, put Mir in it with like Mir's head poking out, and then he'll give you a little pat on the head, Ava, and is Ava still like visibly like shaken up, or is like Ava kind of like not?
He's holding it together mostly, but he is very pale, I guess I'd say.
Let's see if Harshnag would notice. Harshnag's not the most social person, so let's see if Harshnag would notice. If Harshnag doesn't notice, which I don't think he will, because again, not the most sociable guy, Harshnag. Let's see. Tell me, Harshnag, do you notice? I don't know. Do you think that a Charisma 12 would notice that or not?
You know what? Let me make Ava a holding it together roll.
Holding it together roll.
We're all in this.
Yes.
Yes, it would. Okay, Harshnag will kind of notice that you're like a little bit off, and before like he'll kind of like he'll be like halfway to like springing up to his feet and getting ready to go, like getting his axe ready and everything, packing up his few meager belongings, but he will look over at you and with like normally in Harshnag you either see like a like dead serious kind of look or a kind of like look of crazed bloodlust, but this is one of the few moments where you see Harshnag kind of change from that to a more concerned look, and he asks, "Is everything all right? You don't seem yourself."
I'm all right, I think. And he'll like just sort of run a hand down his arm. Just when we were dealing with the Dark Weaver, I think that I died, and I think that I thought that everyone else had too.
He'll immediately upon hearing this, he'll look like real shocked, and he'll like touch himself, kind of like, "Am I a ghost?" Like he'll poke his belly, and it'll kind of do like a little jiggle, and then he'll grab you and like kind of like pat you down a little bit as best as he can, and then he'll look over at Mir, and again he'll kind of like do the same thing, and he'll even kind of like the ground a little bit, make sure it's real, and he'll say, "Well, if we are dead, heaven sucks."
Ava just nods somewhat solemnly. I think it might have just messed with my mind, but it is taking me a while to recover from it.
He'll smile and he'll say, In our line of work, death will face you at multiple points. It's not about death. It's not something you should be afraid of. I'm not afraid of it." And then he'll grab his axe and like kind of like gesture it as though he's about to like lop his own head off with it, but then he won't, obviously. And he'll put it down, and he'll say, "I could die at any point I wanted to, and I wouldn't fear for anything. And you shouldn't either. So long as you do good deeds, things will work out. Just be strong, friend. Don't let darkness and nonsense like that scare you. Focus on what really matters: saving people and helping others.
Alma will give like a wry, sort almost rueful smile, and he'll say, "It's not that I was afraid of it. Rather, I heard screaming, Harshnag, and I couldn't even turn to look at it. My body just wouldn't. I'm not afraid of death so much as I am that they might have died while I stood and did nothing."
That definitely is something Harshnag would relate to. Harshnag, I think will kind of join you in kind of like a kind of solemn, kind of like, I don't know. Before just kind of, he'll lean in and kind of give you like a giant hug and just kind of a pat on the head. And he'll kind of like look like what you said, like definitely like impacted him a little bit. But he also kind of looks like, he kind of gives you like a look like, cheer up, don't worry about it. Like I know the feeling. Like I feel you kind of get that like I've been there look, but he'll kind of like give you like a pat on the back, and he'll say, well, you didn't do nothing. We saved the people of this town, and we saved it from a terrible fate. Things can happen. We can't be everywhere at once. Bad things happen, even when we're watching, even when we're not. And though it's our job to try and stop those things from happening, we can't always.
Harshnag, it'll be some time before we see each other again, but... And he'll just sort of look around the crater.
Harshnag. Oh, go ahead.
I know you won't look away if someone's in danger and you can prevent it. But just... please don't throw away your life for someone you know you can't save.
He'll nod, and you should give me an insight check.
I'm already on team. I don't believe that he's actually gonna listen to it.
Yeah, you're definitely on team. He's not telling the truth. You're definitely on that team. And you can tell like Harshnag, he'll nod and he'll look at you like as serious as he can. Like I'll keep that in mind, but you can tell like he's not fully convinced.
Yeah, I don't think Ava will push it. I mean, that's just who Harshnag is. So he'll just give Harshnag a hug and pat the sheep and walk back to the group.
Harshnag will give you a very, very big hug.
I'll say.
I get it, I'll say. Alright. You return to the group, and Harshnag, at your request, will stand up. He'll give you guys all one final wave, and we'll begin trekking off to Mirabar. Slowly.
They will wave both at Harshnag and the sheep.
The sheep, not understanding physical communication, will not wave back. But
That's alright.
you can sense appreciation nonetheless.
So we're ready to go?
I'm not hearing any no's.
think so.
I think
To adventure.
Maybe.
To adventure! Away! Alrighty. Then away you go. Somebody left and joined.
Assuming Ava's kind of composure role is carrying over, Liddy is going to shapeshift into just like a cat, like a very warm, fuzzy cat, and just like jump up on his shoulders and like lay around his neck like a scarf
I love that.
and just
I love
purr.
Ava is, if Liddy Cat seems comfortable with it, just idly, probably like patting.
Oh yes, she's like leaning her head into the pets.
Alright. Are we out of here, gang?
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Let me pull
Hey,
up.
Jill, you hear me?
I can hear you, yes?
Yes.
Wait, can you hear me before?
Now you cut out.
Yeah, you cut out just there. But we could hear you for a second.
And now we don't hear you at all.
Can you hear me now?
Yes!
Yes.
Hey. I think I figured out what's wrong. I cut out again, didn't I?
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I hate my computer right now.
I always hate my computer. I hate all computers. All the time.
Shh,
Oh,
it can hear
Don't
you.
say that.
It can hear you.
So
I know they can hear. I know they can hear me, and I want them to know that I hate them.
Computers, I need you to know I'm not on Charlie's side with this.
old technology. I would like it noted. I am them.
No, I am of the firm mindset like that. What's that quote? Like you shouldn't trust a computer you can't throw out a window. That's my entire mindset. I have no other beliefs other than that.
No. They do so much stuff for us.
Yes, but they also suck, and I hate computers. Back in my day, you Gen Z, you guys don't get it. Whatever. The point is,
Probably just disconnects.
Oops.
all right,
A
but
way to get roll 20 first.
yeah, that honestly is how I'm gonna get roll 20s to never work for me. All right, but on the Cairn Road you go. I mean, I'm assuming that's how you guys are getting to Red Larch, correct?
Yes.
Are we taking a short or long rest before we depart, or no?
Do we need one?
Yes.
I don't know. Do we?
When did you need hit points?
I mean, I used a spell, so I've only got one left. Just letting everybody know.
I mean, I still got a few spell slots. By spell slots, I mean most of them. But
We could take probably a short one just to kind of regroup and maybe see if someone wants to be generous and give us a little bit of food on our little journey from town since we saved their butts.
Hey, we have bruiser eggs.
You do have bruiser eggs.
Yeah.
We could
Even
eat the
fleshy
balancing
ones.
eggs.
We can make wonky omelet.
Wonk
Wonky
omelet.
omelet. I like that. I want a wonky omelet now.
I want a wonky omelet.
Yeah.
Finch will just,
And I mean-
if we're taking a short rest, Finch will just make a giant wonky omelet.
We do have olive oil.
You have olive oil?
What the?
Yeah,
You
we
do.
have 3 vials of olive oil.
I think Helio went a little overboard with it.
Okay. I was gonna say. It's like, where the hell did you- Oh,
He's supposed to be a chef,
yes.
but I never got
remember.
around to taking the.
I do want to point out I googled the phrase wonky omelet, and there is a recipe for
no.
the wonky omelet out there, I
Really?
guess.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Yeah, that
Okay, now I'm
exists.
googling it.
Yeah,
wonder
no,
what's in
I'll
it.
put the link in the chat. It's on Dinner for One podcast.
That checks out.
Wonky omelet. No, Adobe Creative Cloud. Don't open it. Unpin from taskbar. Why do I even have that?
The new Clippy. Adobe Creative Cloud.
Full fat cream.
That's wonky omelet.
That's how you know it's good.
That is how you know it's good.
I don't really like cream in my omelets.
I don't think I've ever made an omelet. I've only eaten them, so I can't judge.
I recently discovered from a coworker about putting cream cheese in an omelet. Like
Ooh.
when you beat your eggs, you put the cream cheese in there. Especially she recommended the like, onion and chive cream cheese.
That sounds kind of good, honestly. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds good.
She's southern.
So it sounds like
no,
it.
she's from California.
No, but Southern California, right?
It's like the thing
It's
in
the
the
same
South to
thing.
just put cream cheese and everything. It's our
That is
equivalent
true.
of a spice.
Yeah.
All right. So, with that, are we taking a rest in town or not, gang?
It's a short one, an hour.
Short rest in town?
As need
I mean,
spell slots, I do have
that means I get a
any
spell
sort of
slot, so that's cool.
health.
I get all my spell slots back.
Nice. Huge.
All of it.
I don't need a short rest. I don't get anything back on short rest.
Ah.
You get 2 spells.
And the short rest by expending 1 or more hit dice, each of those creatures regains an extra 1d6. I'll spend a hit die, a 7, plus a d6.
How long do those temporary hit points last?
Only an 8.
So I'll redo those temporary hit points since it's been 3 days since we set them up.
Ah, it has not. We did them last session. I gave
Yeah.
I gave everybody a Finch speech before they went into their fight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was really good.
Helio
66.
lost
That's
all
fine.
his. Because he got hit.
Yeah, I lost all mine too. But that's okay.
Huh, well,
I'm hardy.
Jack is A-okay.
All right. Once everybody's done with their short rest, let me know, and then we will continue.
I'm good.
I'm good to go.
Wait,
Yep.
hang on. Let me just add this one spell slot. Okay, yep. Okay.
I'm
All
actually
right.
starting to feel pretty bad, so I might have to cut out early here. I'm really sorry about that.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Very good.
Aw.
Get
I
some
feel
rest
better.
if you're not
Yeah.
feeling good, man.
Yeah.
Life
Drink
comes
all the water.
first.
Yeah, I've just been having like a couple of those days where it's just
Yeah.
real hard to be a person.
That's okay, man. That's okay. We all have those days. Go get some rest,
yes.
man. Get out of here. Go. Shoot. Be gone.
I'm sorry about this. Have a good
wait
day.
with you.
No, you're good, man.
Bye.
Goodbye, evil
Bye,
80s
bye.
mouse. All right. I guess we will continue then, gang. So, you guys, unless you guys are going faster than expected, it should take you guys about 3 days to travel to good old-fashioned Red Larch. So, let me pull up my notes.
Doing we get like a long rest somewhere in between there.
Oh yeah, unless you guys want to walk for 3 days.
No.
The answer is no. No, you don't want to walk
Yeah.
for 3 days. But the first day I would say goes by pretty well, like pretty uneventfully. You just kind of begin making your way into the kind of the outskirts of the Somber Hills, which give me some history checks, all of you. Everybody who spent some time on the Prime, give me some history checks.
So, real fast though, I have this idea of travel.
Okay.
Where everybody that can sits on Tensor's floating disc
Ooh.
and we just like
So-
fly there.
He's so cool.
You just have like
He
a
does not
just like a
pitch,
big
he will turn
hoverboard,
into a bird and fly next to you.
a hover
How
table.
big is the disc?
Exactly. It is a 3 feet diameter, but it can hold up to 500 pounds.
So we can all just sit on it in the circle.
Essentially, or everybody can sit like with their back to it and then just like either cross-leg their feet or let it hang off the side, and then Helio can just like fly and
Fly,
we'll just
little birdie,
follow.
fly.
And then we'll have to
Ooh.
stop every hour to recast it, but I don't have to expend a spell slot to do it. I can just do it.
You guys want to go really fast.
That's the thing.
Some speed behind Helio's wing.
Wow.
All
I
right.
think
Well,
that'd be
before
fun.
you guys get any bad ideas, so as you guys begin traveling into the Somber Hills, Finch and Jack, you guys will both remember. Finch, because you've spent a lot of time here, you'll remember this. Like, you've spent time at Barge, right? And you just kind of know the area, so you would know. Jack, I don't know how you would know this. You just know random shit.
Yes, he does.
You would know that this, the Somber Hills and the greater kind of valley that you guys are in, is or was home to, in the very distant past, big dwarven kingdoms. And places like the Somber Hills, the Desserin Hills, the Sword Mountains, all the way up to Mirabar. This whole place is known for its like kind of astoundingly well-preserved dwarven ruins that line both the roads and the hills. And you're like, man, that reputation, hopefully it doesn't disappoint. It certainly doesn't. As after about your first day, you start seeing like, you know, small like small little bits of like ruins and pillars and like old stone lampposts, and even like you can see where the path overlaps with older like roads that were crafted like probably thousands of years ago but are still in surprisingly good shape. And you even pass through what look like maybe the remnants of a city or two, now just like small like stone squares in the ground, but obviously at one point had houses on top of those squares. But the first day goes on pretty much without a hitch, besides just taking in the sights and sounds. The second day, however, give me a D20, gang.
Ooh.
D20.
D20, you say?
Yes.
Da, 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 da.
All
Just one or
right.
everybody?
Just the one.
Oh, same.
Oh.
15.
Great minds think alike.
Quit
Yeah,
copying
Jack.
me. Quit copying me, dude.
Hey, I was the one that rolled it first, so you're the one copying me.
I clicked my button. way before you.
Well, mine entered the chat first, so.
I hit /roll on D20. So
Well, I just clicked the button, which is so much faster.
Well,
yeah.
regardless.
Or lazier. I mean, whatever you want to say.
Regardless. As you guys are traveling down the path, you do find a like shockingly well preserved. Like you see a lot of statues along these paths, you know, to different dwarven gods, but most of them are kind of like falling apart, kind of decrepit, you know, covered in moss and they've seen better days. However, you come across one sitting right on the side of the road, lit up with some lanterns and surrounded by kind of knickknacks and trinkets, which you can kind of guess are offerings to this god. And it is a, let's see, it is a kind of like, it's a small hooded figure wearing a necklace with 3 kind of gemstones on it. And in one hand, the figure is holding a like staff, and in the other hand, it's holding like a mace. And the kind of like inscription below it. Can anybody read Dwarven?
Oh.
I have a spell, I think.
Nope.
No. What? I only speak one other language. What? Like, I think Sylvan's just a given. Come on.
Yeah, you speak Sylvan and Elven for sure, if nothing else.
Comprehend languages work for that?
It's written.
No.
Yes.
Any written
yes.
language.
So, you kind of you go for a comprehend languages, and the text says, "Bless the sword with its ruby pommel and silver sharp edge, which has been blessed by the greatest craftsman."
One more time.
Bless this sword, which with its ruby pommel and silver sharp edge, which has been blessed by the greatest craftsman.
And remind me, is it actually holding a sword?
It's holding a mace in its hand.
Oh, fascinating. So that makes me think that someone has stolen the sword and replaced this mace in its position. Yes?
Perhaps, says the omniscient voice.
Who has comprehend languages?
Finch does.
Let me steal your spell.
Finch, give me a religion check after kind of like understanding the quote.
Sorry, wait, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you hear Charlie about that religion check?
Religion.
I'm sorry,
Oh,
no.
you're fine.
Give me a religion check, man.
Religion. 20.
That's a good roll. So you're kind of thinking, and you don't know dwarven gods terribly well, partially because you're not a dwarf. But you think back like to all the dwarven friends you've had, and like what kind of like gods they worshipped, and you arrive on this being probably the god Thautam, a god of magic, and specifically like magical weapons, like crafting and creating magical weapons, like blessing them and kind of imbuing them with powers. And he's also a god to secrets and mysteries.
Ooh. I'll relate to that to the group and
Spicy.
can I try something?
You can try something.
Just to see if this is like a riddle. I'm gonna cast magic weapon on the sword.
A mace.
On the mace?
Yeah. That he's holding.
Alright. I am stunned you guys got that quickly. Holy shit. Wow. Impressive work. I'll give you an inspiration for that one, because that was impressively figured out.
If you're messing with me, I'm gonna be so sad right now.
No, you're not. That was like
Okay.
in my notes. That was the solution. I am glad that happened incredibly quickly.
Nice.
Yay.
So you cast your magic weapon on the mace that it's holding, and the mace, after shining for a moment, it falls out of the figure's hand and is replaced it falls to the ground and is replaced with a simple silver sword with exactly as described, a sharp silver sword with a ruby in its pommel, and it falls to the ground.
And she's doing just a little fuck yeah happy dance.
You're allowed
Well.
to take it.
I mean, it sounds like thievery to me, but
Would you get the sense that we're allowed to take it?
Helio would look over and be like, "Why don't you ask the god?"
You're the cleric.
ooh.
He just kind of like give you
Dear name. Are we allowed to take this for solving a riddle?
No response.
Remind me what the riddle said.
The riddle simply said, "Bless this sword, which with its ruby pommel and silver sharp edge." Let me find it. Bless this sword with its ruby sharp pommel and edge, created by the most blessed craftsman. That's where it is.
So blast, but to just sit here apparently.
I'll put a silver as an offering and take it.
Okay.
A silver? Are
It
you?
said silver edge.
Hmm. Yes, what a brilliant idea, Finch. Yes. I
Oh,
agree.
I'm sorry. Did you get us this far?
No, no, it was not sarcasm. I'm genuinely impressed.
Okay. Yes,
What
you
kind
can.
of sword is it?
It's a short sword.
Short sword.
I'm going to
ruby
immediately
pommel.
cast Identify on it.
All right. You cast Identify, and
Finch be getting all the weapons.
though it does not return any like strong magic. It does return a bit of alteration magic.
Mm.
With Identify?
Oh, Identify? I guess I thought you were casting the other one. Identify doesn't return anything.
Ooh, mysterious.
Cool. I'll say that I'm not quite sure how safe this sword is. It's magical to some extent. Everybody's finished watching. It's magical to some extent, but Identify doesn't seem to be working on.
So we'll keep it for now.
I guess Helio will then cast Detect Magic on it. Just-
You'll get the alteration magic.
Does the stone do anything in particular?
The ruby?
Yes.
What are you doing to it?
He's just gonna focus on the stone in particular.
No, nothing.
Okay.
Can I
Can I-
see it?
Yeah, Helio, do you have Remove Curse?
I mean, do we know that it's cursed though? Like, do you feel
Oh.
negative energy coming from it?
Do I feel negative energy coming from it?
No.
Here,
No, but
can I try?
Go ahead.
Can I take the short sword and if there's like a tree nearby, can I whack it?
Yeah, you can whack it.
I whack a tree.
All
With the
right.
sword.
You
There we
whack
go.
it. Roll me a d20.
D20.
ooh. Oh yes, I don't know.
I whack a tree with the sword.
All right. You whack the tree, and it whacks as you would expect it to.
Helio's just
It
gonna kind of
works.
fly over and
It works.
can I see it?
I didn't
Liddy's
feel
gonna-
anything from it when I swung it, so I didn't
Liddy's
feel
gonna
cursed.
sneak over to the tree and kind of pet the trunk and like cast like plant growth or something to try and heal whatever.
Sorry, lady.
You can fix the tree.
That's Professor.
So good.
Try swinging at me.
Okay. I'll take if are you do you want to do what you want to do, Helio?
Can I just? He's just gonna like reach out for it. Can I just see it?
Yeah, you can see it.
I'll hold it so you can touch it.
Okay. He's going to try and channel. He's just gonna try and cast a spell through it. So
Okay.
We'll just say he tries to cast Tensor's Floating Disc.
Just for example. Nothing much happens. It just, casts normally. It transmits magic pretty well, like
Am I able to cast through it?
Yeah, you can use it as a spell casting focus.
Okay.
Ooh.
Okay. I want to try and hit Finch with it.
What?
Do it.
Seemed like a great idea. Liddy's like preparing a cure wounds as she's speaking.
Wait,
You know,
try doing cure wounds with the sword.
actually, speaking of which, Kirsten, you weren't here, were you? No, you were here when I hit you. Right? When we
What?
were remember when I got
Time.
I got caught in the web by the spider, so I was
Oh, I
protected by the
remember that.
spider, and I hit her with my maul. Yeah. So are you okay with me hitting you with a sword?
Yeah,
What? My
fine.
freaking car's fixed.
Okay, cool.
Sorry. I'm glad our car's fixed.
Okay, I take the sword and I'm not going to hold back.
All right, give me an attack roll with the short sword.
What is it?
Just drag a short sword in from the compendium and use that.
Okay. Short sword.
Would it be an advantage since Finch isn't trying to dodge or anything?
Do you want to make it with advantage, Vesper?
Mm,
I feel like that's a loaded question.
I mean, we want to find out what this thing does.
I'll take that as a yes. If you are making it with advantage, make it normal.
Oh, normal. How do I do this? Do I just drag it onto the thing?
Yeah, go in the competitive compendium and then just drag it into your character sheet, and it should bish bash bosh put it in there.
Oh,
Make sure you're not doing the proficiency. Make sure you're actually dropping the weapon in, because sometimes I do that where I'm like, why isn't this working? And then I'll have like 500 short sword proficiencies.
Yes, I do that all the time. It drives me bonkers.
Short sword.
All right, Finch, does a 14 hit?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, it does.
All right.
Yeah, we
Finch,
gotta work on that AC.
You won't believe what happens next.
you take 8 damage. You take 8 damage. However, Vesper, when you go to swing that, you can feel it, like, once it gets close to Finch, it is, like, trying its best to resist. Like, you can feel, like, there's, like, a backwards force, like, as it gets closer to Finch. And is understand languages still happening to you, Finch?
No, I would have. Is it constant?
It lasts for an hour.
Be going on. Yeah.
It's still going?
Yeah.
All right. You. Yeah, you would kind of hear. You hear somebody say in Dwarvish, "Are you fucking crazy? Stop swinging it at your friend!"
Holy shit, it's a talking sword.
Wait, you...
Sword.
I didn't hear anything?
You hear gibberish.
The talking sword. That's where it's
What did it say?
sword.
What did it say?
Well, it said you shouldn't swing the sword at your friend.
Oh, I mean, I felt like that was a given, but I just had to try. I'm sorry.
Sword. Your name.
You're asking the name?
Yeah.
Its name is... Give me 1 second, because I actually don't have a name for the sword prepared.
Well, comprehend languages. You can't speak the language, right? You can just understand it.
Oh, shit. Oh,
Okay,
shit.
now we hope this thing knows common.
Well, I guess now we have to ask what common was like 4,000 years ago. Shoot.
Oh no.
Very, very different.
Oh no.
Yeah, okay, so I guess it says in what you guys would interpret as like Old English, is I guess like the closest equivalent in like real world. It would say like thine name is, like whatever, like that kind of thing. But it essentially speaks
sword.
Yeah, it will eventually it will not like understand a word you're saying. Like it might pick up like like I don't know. I'm trying to think of what words in Old English were the same as in New English. I don't know, probably name.
Prime nomen. What is?
But if it's 4,000-ish years old, would even the Dwarvish be different?
The Dwarvish would be different, but you're casting understand languages, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
I'm gonna just point my hand to me and say Finch, point to Vesper and say Vesper, then point to the sword.
Sword.
Yeah, it says sword. It will say very quietly Oogir.
Oogir.
Oogir. That's how you spell it.
Oogir.
Ogier. It's a talking dwarvish sword that obviously knows that whenever I attack, whether or not it's friend or foe,
I'm gonna like. How do we tell the sword we want to see what it can do?
Sounds quite invasive, bench.
you know how languages sometimes, are branched off of other languages? Is there a branch of dwarvish, like that, of a language that one of us could possibly speak?
Everything else uses the dwarvish.
Yeah. I think that this is, like, Ugir here is real old, so I think that, like, actual, like, written or verbal communication with Ugir is going to be very difficult, unless you can think of some, like, very foolproof way. Because, language changes a lot in several thousands of years, so you're...
Ooh,
But if something
I have
like
an idea.
like Elvish or
an
Sylvan
idea,
is like a really, are those considered like?
No. Elven and
No,
Sylvan,
old.
definitely not.
I mean, Sylvan's super old, but it's a completely different.
Yeah, it's a
dialect.
completely different, like, dialect from basically a different dimension. I mean, like, you're
Mhm.
playing with a, like, if you could find somebody that understood old Dwarven and Sylvan, they probably could translate for you, but they wouldn't, like, you'd have to find somebody that speaks old Dwarven.
Or find a book that teaches you.
I mean, we're going to Red Larch, so we could, try a library there or try to find a bookstore
Well, Finch had an
that could
idea.
have.
I speak 6 languages and can't communicate with this thing. The chances of us finding someone.
If we're
Do you
traveling
speak
in the hills,
Dwarvish or not? Do you speak like full
I
Dwarvish?
speak Sylvan, Primordial, Orcish, Giant, Elven, and Common.
I'm gonna look something up really quick. I want to see what languages are related to Dwarven.
I think Gnomish is.
Ooh,
Because they have a
makes
similar.
That would make sense.
I can speak Gnomish.
Let's see.
My idea was to try and communicate with music. So I mean, if any of you were hoping it was a good idea, it's not.
Such a Finch idea.
It's a very good idea.
It just kind of. It's bagpipes. Hey, if I play in a very inspiring John bagpipes, do you think he'll get the message?
That'd have to be one hell of a performance roll if you played well enough with bagpipes to convey, what can you do, sword?
Okay, wait. Does it have to be the bagpipes? I just kind of said bagpipes because of the accent you used.
Listen, there's no way, I take it back, there's no way on earth you can convey with the just music
Wait, no,
alone.
No. I want to play a battle.
Challenge.
I want to do battle too.
Okay, if you can give me a history check.
Okay. 21.
Okay, you can recall an old dwarvish battle tune, like something that the dwarves would have gone into battle with, that's played on the bagpipes, a traditional dwarven. You can't recall it perfectly, you don't have the sheet music in front of you, but you can kind of get the gist of it. Now give me a performance check with the bagpipes.
It has to be with the bagpipes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it has to be with the bagpipes.
That's fair. Can I give myself bardic inspiration?
I think you can.
you're a willing creature.
Someone bless me. Or not bless.
Anybody got guidance?
Guidance, you.
Okay, so plus a d6 plus a d4. Please don't be a natural one. Ooh. And that's also plus 8, so 36.
Jesus. Okay, well, I guess maybe you can communicate through music. Lesson learned. So you start playing your battle music. Who's holding the sword?
I am.
All right, Finch, can you still understand this thing?
Yeah, half an
Um,
hour before I lose.
okay.
ability to-
It will communicate to you. Let me see something. I'm actually reading something really quick before I.
Oh no, I did not think this would work. You're completely fine.
I'm reading something just real lickety split.
Does Finch need to be touching the sword to hear it, or just near it?
Just near it. It says things out loud.
Okay.
It does not communicate
Also, everybody
telepathically.
can hear it.
Everybody can hear it. Everybody can hear
Cool.
gibberish.
Uh-huh.
Jack.
I don't like it.
I don't like the babbling sword.
Something
It's hitting on
suspicious.
Finch and I can't stop it.
Oh.
Something suspicious about that sword.
Who's holding the sword again? Vesper?
Yeah.
Okay, Vesper, when Finch starts playing the music, the sword will start to, like, of its own free will, start spinning around in your hand, like, kind of like as though it's looking for threats, you know, like looking around to see where the bad guys might be.
Jack, get in there.
But after a moment of not seeing any bad guys, it kind of just, like, you can kind of get, like, a relaxed vibe from it. Like, it kind of goes back from being, like, on alert to kind of just being, like, normal. And just kind of is, just letting you hold it. It will listen to the music. And it will seem, as best as it can be, pumped up for a sword. But I don't know if war music communicates now fight unless you start swinging at things. Are you going to start swinging at things? Question mark?
Swing at things. Swing at things. Swing at things.
Yeah. Well, Jack, stay still.
Sure. Wait, why?
Whack.
Are you going to give me a
Jesus.
Are you going to give me a short sword attack on Jack?
Yeah.
Attack on Jack?
You sound so excited.
If he's my ally, quote unquote, is that just regular?
Quote unquote.
Yes, just regular.
Did the music?
Unless
did
Jack
the music convey?
So you go to swing at Jack, actually, you know what? Make this one with advantage. Actually, never mind. If you're actually going to do it with advantage, make this one with advantage.
Stab.
Yeah, 17.
Okay. So, it will start swinging real good, and you won't feel any resistance this time. And Jack, it will connect with you unless you beat a 17, and it will deal 11 piercing damage.
It beats 17.
And
Or, I mean, sorry. 17 beats my armor.
okay. You'll just hear coming from the sword, "Ow! Ow! 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 Stop that!"
Oh no!
What did you do, Vespa?
I like to imagine Liddy's just like trailing behind Vesper, curing everyone that she's throwing her sword at. Like, no, no, no.
And then Finch, you'll hear, "I'm not supposed to be a sword, you git! I'm stuck like this!"
I'm gonna cast mending on the sword to in case it got any damage.
It didn't. But, it will appreciate
make it
the
feel
gesture.
better.
It will appreciate the gesture.
Oh, so it's like someone who got cursed into a sword, so when I hit things with it, it's like I'm whacking the person against whatever that hits it. So if it's not supposed to be a sword, more just an arcane focus?
Ooh, Jack still. And I'm gonna take this. Can I borrow the sword?
Yeah.
Can Helio discern from that if it's been spelled to be a sword?
Did Finch tell you what it said?
Yeah, Finch has been translating for them.
Okay. You could maybe guess. Like, I don't know. It could be an educated guess. Like, maybe he was cursed into a sword. Are you gonna dispel curse on it?
I only have dispel magic. I don't have remove curse. Helio didn't study curses.
Yeah, but here's the thing. If it is something that was cursed into a sword, do we want another Eric situation? Or do we want to just keep it into a sword?
I mean, Even
Wait,
if they're a
they-
bad person, they don't deserve to be stuck in a sword.
But why
So
was
far,
I've
all
met
he's done
several
is
people who
tell us not to attack our
belonged in swords.
friends.
But why was it cursed into a sword in the first place? If it was the sword of this dwarvish god, like why would?
Well, I mean, it
What?
doesn't mean it was his sword.
But being
What
cursed
did the
into a
riddle
sword,
say?
like
Well, it
It
didn't say it
said-
was cursed. You guys are reading into it. It didn't say it was cursed necessarily.
Yeah, no one said that, guys.
Nobody said it was cursed. So
said the
I mean,
word
We could try
bless-
remove magic.
bless this sword with its ruby pommel and silver sharp edge, which has been blessed by the greatest craftsman. So is this the greatest craftsman that's in the sword? Who is
Maybe.
the greatest craftsman?
You could ask him, right?
Well,
Finch
we can't-
asked.
None of us speak. I can't speak a language. I can understand, but I don't have the tongues.
I mean, we could go to
mean,
Red Lodge and try to talk to some people and get in any ideas.
Did we
There's
did
never
we
a
decide that
dwarf around
Gnomish
when
was
you need
close
one.
to Dwarvish?
That's what I thought.
Okay.
Maybe the sword speaks another language.
Liddy,
Speak to it in every language.
Liddy,
Uh-huh.
if you can give me I'm trying to think about what check I would do to like communicate with it. I guess okay, you can talk to it normally, but it has to make intelligence checks against you to figure out what the hell you're saying.
Well, and so like gnomes live for quite a long time.
So you
So
want to try
I'm
using like
thinking that
older words, I'm assuming?
yeah, I'm thinking that maybe she knows a couple people like from the Druidic tribe or even her family who like use some older language, probably not old enough to, match
Right.
sword
Okay.
age, but like some of the like dialect maybe that's kind of fallen out
Okay, give
of
me
use.
yeah, you can just talk to it normally. I'll give it maybe not advantage, but I'll give it +2 to its rolls, so that way it can have at least a better chance.
Hi there. Are you a sword or are you something else?
Give me 1 second. Let's see if he understands anything you're saying.
Oh no.
Yeah,
That
it
doesn't
maybe
sound
like
good.
it maybe like understands the word sword, and you'll understand the word sword back. Like you'll understand sword, like
Yeah.
that's the word you'll get. Like sword is sort of how the conversation has gone so far between you guys.
So you're coming to terms with how you're gonna communicate. So sword will be sword.
So sword means sword. Okay, now that's just one language. That's one word down. Now 5 million more to go.
That's good to know. Gosh. I don't know what to ask it, guys.
I mean, do we really need to be doing this right now, though? Could we just go into the city and
I mean, we
Find
could
someone
walk and
about
talk.
try and
Oh, I thought we
tra-
had been.
You have been, I'm assuming. I mean, like, I don't think you guys would have stuck around the thing for so long.
Why don't you, Liddy and Finch, try to create some sort of a translation list in a book or on a piece of paper, and then maybe through that, until we get to Red Lodge, it will help us for a bit, and then maybe we could find someone who knows Old Dwarvish or find a book about it, and
Would Helio at least know of translation books to look for? Given that he
Yeah, you could know. You could find if you had access to a library with sufficient like books in it, you could reasonably find books that would help you translate.
Okay.
The
So he at least
library.
knows where to look.
Yeah, you would be able to quickly locate, like if you got access to a library, like assuming Red Larch has one, if you got access to a library, if there were books in there that could help you translate, you would know exactly which ones those would be and how.
Okay.
Yes.
I appreciate that.
All right. Well, while you guys figure out how to communicate with music in gnomes, I'm gonna go get a piece of pizza. So let's take a 5-10 minute break, and we'll reconvene around 10:30, 10:35, give or take. So I'll see you then, gang.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. How's it going? How's it going in the land of plenty over here?
Goodness. Oh,
People are leaving. Oh no.
come from a land of plenty. Or I come from a land down under.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Did you fix?
Oh, I over microwaved this pizza. It's so hot.
Oh no.
When I went on my trip, I had the best pizza I had been wanting forever. It was so good.
I haven't had like really good pizza in a long time. Having like I don't care what people say. I just have to say it. Pizza is objectively the best food. Like people are like, oh, but that's such a lame answer. It's like no, but pizza really is.
Yeah, I love pizza.
So good.
I like very bougie pizza.
All kinds of pizza, ma'am.
Like with prosciutto and figs and like honey. Like
I mean, gotta admit, that is good.
That's part of what makes pizza so great is how versatile it is.
Yeah, that is true. That's why people say it's a cop-out answer, because it's like, well, I mean, you can't eat for every meal. It's like, yes, you can. Dessert pizza. Breakfast pizza. We win. Sorry. Like, what are you going to do?
I've had a breakfast pizza.
Bacon pizza.
One pizza that I do like when I lived in Japan was ebi mayo pizza, and that was pizza with shrimp on it and mayonnaise and corn.
That
and
sounds
so
good.
Yeah.
But it has to be like the Kewpie mayonnaise. Oh, it's so yummy.
Oh, I saw some of that today.
That's the best mayonnaise ever.
I thought about buying it, but then I was like, I don't use mayonnaise very often.
What?
So...
Do you live in America, friend? Are you truly American if you're not putting mayonnaise on everything?
No, I haven't used mayonnaise in like months. I mean, I've made stuff with mayonnaise. I haven't eaten anything with mayonnaise in like months.
As someone whose entire job revolves like 35% around mayonnaise, that upsets me.
Oh man, mayonnaise is the best. Like you can put the Kewpie mayo on like your ramen. You can eat it with your fried chicken. You can put it basically in like I actually when I got that I told you I got the Jimmy John's sandwich. I put a little bit more on that sandwich.
I kind of regret not getting it now. I should probably.
You know, I hate to interrupt, but who is the person that invented mayo and how and why? Like, if you figure it out, like, okay,
Professor
so like,
Mo, duh.
Origins of mayonnaise.
But it's like, okay, so mayo comes from like eggs or something, like eggs and like vinegar, and like you leave them like in a thing in a long time, and it's like, what fucking creep? What creep was like, I'm gonna leave eggs in like oil for a long time, and then after it was like a white paste, he was like, yeah, give me some of that.
Let's put this on everything.
It's not the sort of thing you think would have happened by, like, just coincidence.
I guess.
That's how we got cheese, isn't it?
Okay. So this thing says that mayonnaise was invented in 1756 by the French chef of the Duc de Richelieu after the Duke beat the British at Port Mahon, whatever. His chef created a feast that was to include a sauce made of cream and eggs, but since there was no cream, he substituted the olive oil for the cream, and then that created mayonnaise.
Huh.
Oh, and then it says the chef named the new sauce mayonnaise with the H because, you know, it's Port Mahon with the H.
Huh.
But then I guess we changed it to a Y.
So, it's actually kind of sad how we found cheese, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah,
Probably.
because essentially, baby cows have a bacteria or something in their an enzyme in their stomach lining that causes milk to curdle into what we get the cheese. And people used to eat baby cow. Well, they still do. They eat baby cows, and so when they would cut them open, the ones that had just nursed, they would find that it basically turned to cheese in their
You
stomach.
gotta think, there was some fucking weirdo out there that was like, yeah, let's eat that.
They were like, let's try this, and then from there it developed, and then they found other ways of like being able to mimic the same process without having to
I'm gonna say
use
less murderous ways of getting that same cheesy flavor.
Because for many years they would put milk in baby cow stomachs and ferment it, and that's what we would get cheese from.
Oh no, now I'm gonna be sad every time I eat cheese.
You don't have to now, because now they don't do it. Now you can use like you can get the same effect from white wine vinegar and lemon juice.
I mean, we have at this point made cheese into literal fucking powder we just put on shit. So I mean, like, if we can make cheese salt, then we can make anything. You know?
Cheese, salt. Ugh.
I like flaky salt. I wish I could buy it. I had flaky salt on sweet potato fries the other day, and it was really good.
Sweet potato fries are goated,
Y'all are
man.
making
Oh
me
my
hungry.
gosh, sweet potato fries with shoot, I don't remember what they had. There was like, shoot, I had the best sweet potato fries one point, and I don't remember where I had them, but they were delicious. Oh.
I had mine with fry sauce and garlic aioli.
Fry sauce.
Yeah, what is fry sauce?
I think it's just a mixture of ketchup and mayonnaise.
That's God, now I can't even think of the dressing.
Fry sauce, here it is. Joe, you introduced me to so many weird foods today, and all of them sound delicious.
You don't know? Wait, you don't know about fry sauce?
No, I've never heard of
But,
fry
like-
sauce before.
Yeah, I never heard of
Oh,
What?
Miss
They have
having
it
a kitchen.
in the supermarket when you go to the ketchup
Ah,
aisle.
see,
it's in
okay,
there.
so Heinz released it here in the Midwest as Mayo Chup.
What?
That's-
it. Ew,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Why would you fucking name your product?
right.
Oh,
Mayo
mayonnaise
Chup?
and ketchup.
All the names.
Yeah,
Mayo
it's
Chup.
Mayo Chup. Mayochup. Mayo Chup.
Oh, just call it fry sauce. That's dumb.
Yeah, fry sauce sounds so much better. But they can't copyright
think
that, I
sounds
guess.
better.
Apparently, it's mayonnaise, ketchup, Worcestershire
apparently
sauce.
we also
pickle
call
brine,
it-
paprika and cayenne.
We call it Yum Yum sauce, but I've never heard of that before in my life either.
Well,
Wait,
that's...
really? Wait, that's
I would
what
not
yum
call
yum
it
sauce is?
It's basically a downgraded version of Thousand Island dressing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, wait. Actually, is fry sauce yum yum?
I think
That's
so.
what
Similar,
Wikipedia
yeah.
says.
I got some while I was on vacation, and I was like, I do not like this yum yum sauce.
That sounds like a Dr.
I-
Seuss book. That sounds so much like a Dr.
do not
Seuss book.
like this yum
I
yum
do not
sauce.
like this Yum Yum sauce. I do not like it. With my boss, I do not like it here or there. I do not like it anywhere. I don't know. There's something
I'm also
there.
not a fan of Thousand Island dressing, but my dad loves the stuff, and so that's what it was like. No, no, thank you.
Hard pass.
Outside the United States, I guess the Germans have something similar that's made with cocktail sauce, and mayonnaise or something. I don't know.
Well, because the basis of Thousand Island dressing is mayonnaise, olive oil, and ketchup or tomato sauce.
What the fuck? In Germany, a popular product called Rotweiss, red white, is sold in toothpaste-style tubes. It consists of unmixed ketchup and mayonnaise, which form a red and white striped string when squeezed out.
Oh,
What?
stop!
Fries at restaurants are sometimes served with an equal mixture of mayonnaise and ketchup. Okay, and then all this is normal.
Can we get back to D&D?
Yeah.
I mean,
We've gone too far. We've gone too far. Oh, hey, banana ketchup is mentioned in this article. I do want to mention that. Banana ketchup is... that we've come full circle, gang. We've come full circle.
Wow.
How far we've strayed from Dungeons and Dragons that now
We're
that
not
now
very
we're
far
talking.
because D&D has a whole magic item that creates
Mayonnaise. Yes, we were
Uh-huh.
talking about that recently. We were talking about how you can create like 2 gallons of mayonnaise. Like, who needs that much mayo?
Oh, that jar.
Yeah, the jar of liquids or whatever. The jar of like
alchemist
Yeah.
jug.
yeah, the jar of
Yep.
like what the fuck? What? Oh god, that looks
Oh
horrible.
my god.
That looks like
that's-
that bacon
oh,
toothpaste. What's that? You know, have you guys seen bacon toothpaste?
Yes.
No.
Bacon toothpaste. It's a real thing. Oh, now
I
my
didn't want
Google's
to.
my Google is showing me recommendations for mayo chup, which is great. Love that. Here, let's find a this isn't the one, but there is bacon flavored toothpaste. Where's a picture of it like being squeezed out? Because it looks exactly like that.
Oh, that's so gross.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather use orange flavored toothpaste.
I would not actually.
There is orange flavored toothpaste that exists.
No, stop.
I used
Really?
it at one point. Yes, it's real.
Oh, what's it taste like?
Oranges.
Real ones though, or like
I don't know.
Hey,
I don't like.
this
I don't
is
like.
orange
I don't like.
high C orange or
Okay, well, first of all, high C is bop, so don't even.
yeah,
come
no.
at
I'm
me.
saying high C orange is good, but if it tastes like actual like orange
Sunny D.
juice and toothpaste, oh,
All right, whatever. All right, no more. High C is goated. Mayo chup
Yeah,
sounds
I love High C.
delicious.
Or for the older people in the group, Tang.
Oh god. Oh
Tang. I remember Tang.
Tang. What the hell are you? That's
I remember
Tang.
you can. This is how you can tell the generational divide right here. If somebody says
You don't know
Tang,
Tang?
god.
What's
Leave it in
Tang?
the-
I don't know Tang either. I've never heard of
Leave
Tang
it.
in my life.
Oh my
Leave it.
gosh. Oh.
The astronauts drank it in space. Goddamn.
Tang soda. No, I've never heard of this before in my life.
Oh, it's not a soda, it's a powder.
It's a-
No,
it's a
it's
powder.
a powdered drink.
And the mascot was an orangutan.
Really? What?
Yeah.
I've never heard of this in my life. I've never even seen this logo before.
Is it still around? I wonder.
I
It
don't
is. It's
know.
Oh my
weird.
god.
not as popular.
Ugh.
Can't imagine why.
I can't imagine why.
Well, it certainly is not.
know.
It certainly
a
has
full
not
monkey.
broken
You
the.
did not. You did not post
Yeah.
the commercial.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Wow, 2001. That's funny.
Yeah, I'm just gonna call it now. I think you could. That's the way you can tell the generational divide is who knows what
People
Tang
knows
is. And
Tang.
Who, yeah, if you know Tang, you're not a Gen Z. I think that
And
that's
it
the.
used to come in like Capri Sun
Yeah.
patches.
Yeah.
Pouches.
Mhm.
What?
Yeah. Yeah. In the if you watch this commercial, it shows the pouches.
All right, no more. I don't want to hear about fake drinks drunk by old people. No thanks. Fake old people drinks, never. No thanks.
What do they call it? The Mandela effect.
Fake old people drinks called Tong or whatever. No thanks. Yeah,
But look at the chimp. The chimp's adorable.
yeah. That chimp's held there against his will. All right.
He was paid well.
He was paid well. All right, so let's pick up where we left off. Let me get rid of fry sauce here. All right, let's pick up my.
The advertisements on all your SNS apps are all going to be about
I was
fry
actually.
sauce.
I mean, like they already Google. Literally, I opened a new tab and Google was already advertising me fry sauce. I'm not even kidding. Like it's that. It was that quick.
Did you need fry sauce?
Although I do wish I had fry sauce because that
I
sounds
have
pretty
2
good.
bags of frozen fries in the freezer right now. I should probably go.
That would be delicious. All right, so
Yes. Things are
Red larch, red larch.
Red larch. Okay. So your second day, aside from finding a friend, goes pretty uneventfully. Are you guys gonna spend time like trying to communicate with the sword or what?
I mean, I kind of want to. It's a talking
Nah,
sword.
I don't care.
I kind of wanted to make
Yeah, I
make
mean-
the joke like let's try to communicate with it. You know, like the SpongeBob joke.
I
But
would, but I also want to go shopping.
okay.
We could
All
like
right.
split up, have one group do like committed to trying to like one group.
Yeah, I don't think Liddy needs to buy anything, so she can keep trying to talk to the sword.
You guys
Yeah.
want to do
Jack's
it
not a
like
shopper.
when we get into the city so that you have access to possible like books and stuff? Or
I mean,
Are
we're
you
walking
gonna-
and talking. It's fine.
are you going to do it on the road?
Okay. All right. Well, regardless, your second day goes by without a hitch. Your third day, you have one more day of travel, and your third day, all of you guys who are like, is there anybody that's gonna be like actively like watching the road looking for threats while like, or like, are all of you guys just kind of hanging out vibing?
Jack is at threat level yellow.
Is
I-
Liddy
I don't trust the sword.
Liddy
Finch is
and
trying to
Finch are hanging out with the sword, and if Ava's just kind of in Ava mode, then I guess.
Ava, I think Ava would probably hang out with the sword. I was gonna say, I think that's Ava's vibe is hanging out with the sword.
Mhm. Does Ava speak Dwarvish?
Oh.
I don't
That is
know
a
if
good question.
Neil
the question
here when
is,
it comes
I don't
to
think
Dwarvish.
Ava
so.
speaks Dwarvish but can't remember it.
No, Ava does not. Ava does not. All right.
Darn.
So who's going to be paying attention? Who's paying attention to the wider world?
Jack.
Helium.
Yeah.
All my wider world people, roll me perception checks.
Of course, perception.
Receptione.
Prescription checks.
I do that all the time. I always think it says prescription. I do that literally every single day. Just my two fairy friends? I thought Vesper was doing it as well.
I can. Mine's not great.
Oh, okay.
You could roll a 20.
Yeah.
All right.
She did not roll a 20.
Helio. So as you guys, let's bring you guys to a fun map.
I find mushrooms on the ground and that's it.
Yeah, you did find some mushrooms. You can have some mushrooms to make yourself feel better. It's like the second prize.
Yeah.
All right. None of your guys' tokens are on this map yet, so if you can't see, that's intended.
Blind.
All right, Vesper, you can see, I think, but you're tiny,
Yeah,
so let's change
I'm
you to be
very
normal
tiny.
size. Helio, you're even smaller. Let's make you normal size.
Whoa, that's super tiny, Helio.
Now he's big Helio. Oh god. Oh no.
Oh my god.
Giant Helio.
If Helio was human sized, how tall would Helio be?
He'd still, I think, be on the small side.
think I
Finch is
have
there. Jack is there.
Oh, it's good when there's a map pulled up.
I
Yeah.
like how he put
I
Jack
know
right
there's
next
no
to
threats.
I feel like if Helio was human size, he'd be like 5'2".
Oh, so he'd
even
be
shorter.
He'd be short. Oh, that's so cute.
All right. So, who can and can't see? I can
Can see.
anticipate.
I can see.
I can see.
Clearly now.
I like hearing that everybody can see. That's really good. Okay, that means that roll
That
20 is
never
actually.
happens.
I know that means roll 20 is
Ooh, that's it.
cooperating. Okay. I'm gonna turn the grid off because I hate the grid. Everybody's like, oh, but the grid, it helps you. No grid. The grid is for losers and babies. All right.
Opinions.
So, as you guys are traversing down the path, Helio, you're the one that
Oh,
sees it.
right.
Helio,
I was thinking the same thing.
actually, I'm gonna turn on daylight because it's day. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not on. Day. Become day. Daylight mode on. There we go. Helio, as you guys are traversing, you see a stone kind of pedestal jutting out of one of these hills, and in that stone pedestal, it is kind of like this it's worn down, you know, and it definitely had engravings on it at one point, but there is a lever sticking into it, and you can see some gears and things, kind of like some inner workings of a machine underneath the lever, and then right across the way, you see a tube, a big tube. Your urge to pull the lever has never been higher.
I'm
Pull the
sure.
lever.
Are you
If
strong
there
enough to
was
pull the
any
lever?
doubt.
Was it the right lever?
Wrong lever. There's only one lever.
Uh,
Okay.
I
Are you gonna pull the lever?
pull the lever. Yep.
All right, roll me 1d20.
Uh,
12. Okay. Let's go to the GM layer.
And a
So-
huge red dragon appears.
For those who can see
know.
it. Actually, I probably should put... Give me 1 second. I'm going to go to the dynamic lighting layer, because this pipe sticks out a
What
bit.
is that?
Slow down, slow down. Nothing you need to be concerned about, that's for sure.
Ew, what the hell?
He's a
I know
little...
what that is.
He's a little
Oh, no.
friend. He's a little friend. He just
It
wants
looks
to
like
talk.
a little baby beholder.
What?
I'm
What?
not saying anything.
A baby
Finch is gonna have
beholder?
a new. Finch is gonna have another new pet to add to her menagerie.
Menagerie. Yes.
Finch is a traveling bard with a menagerie of animals and monsters.
One
All
of those
right.
boys.
Okie dokie.
When
So,
I pull this lever,
yeah.
does it? Do I pull it and then it goes back into place, or do I just pull it from one side?
So you pull it, and then you hear a bunch of machinery, like you hear like the clanking and changing of like metal, and like the turning of gears, and then you kind of hear like the tinging of like hammers hitting metal and things like that. And then after a moment, across the road, a small like miniature beholder-looking boy rolls out of the pipe and kind of plops down onto the ground before springing up and then looking around.
Do we see it?
Helio, I don't think can see it because Helio's small, but everybody else can see it.
What the?
Okay. So since I didn't see anything happen, I'm gonna pull it again.
Okay, roll me
Oh my
1d20.
God. Somebody stop it.
You always have to let things happen twice, and then when it's bad, then you say, "Okay, stop, Helio."
Okay.
It's bad both times.
Oh, how do they spell? I'm gonna throw this stupid. They don't. I'm gonna throw
It's a
roll
Can't throw
20.
your computer out the
mind
window,
player.
remember? That's why you don't trust
Throw roll 20 out a
No.
window.
There's out the window. They are a baby.
They are baby.
it.
I could have sworn that was in this. What? What? Don't.
It's a baby mind.
Do
player.
not cap on me. Do not cap on me, roll 20. I will literally beat you to a pulp. I know this is here.
I'm gonna find whoever invented Roll20 one day and fight them.
I will too. No! Oh! Beans! I'm gonna throw roll 20 off a bridge. That's it. That's it. People of YouTube, listen, heed my call. I am going to throw roll 20. This is my manifesto. My manifesto is now. I'm going to find everybody that worked on roll 20 ever in their existence and throw them all off of the same bridge in Manhattan. This is my manifesto. Don't try to stop me. Please note, this is not an actual manifesto. Alright, please roll 20. Cooperate. Of course it doesn't. Please roll 20. Cooperate. Alright, so, out of the pipe, a bunch of black ooze begins to spill out. It's foul smelling, and it's foul smelling and gross. And it spills down on the ground and starts immediately burrowing a hole into the ground. Problem is, the little boy is on the ground, so he instantly gets vaporized and dead.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
no.
You killed Finch's new pet.
My baby.
Hey, Helio, maybe stop doing that.
I'm halfway
It's just
through pulling another.
Running over.
Are you gonna pull it a third time?
Stop messing with
I
the
don't
baby.
know. I'm halfway through it.
I think you
can't
should
just
give
die.
me. I think you should give me a
There's
roll.
stuff coming out of the pipe. It's bad. It looks
I'll
bad.
try and cast healing
Give me
word.
another d20 for that pull of the lever, because I know you want to. Deep down, I know you
Can
want
I
to.
try to
Does-
cast healing word when I see that thing start getting followed up?
It's too late for that.
Too
thing.
late.
Yeah, it's too late. I mean, like the second it comes out of the pipe, it pretty much instantly vaporizes the poor thing. I mean, like it does not have a chance.
I'm going to firebolt that thing because it just killed what appeared to be a baby.
Okay. Helio, roll me 1d4, please.
Does this thing look like the thing that we saw in the caves?
It does look like the thing you saw in the caves. Good for remembering.
Finch, you remember what this is?
Alright, so as this
Yes.
thing is about now, I would say 2 feet into the ground, just kind of devouring the stone around it, a bunch of water begins to spill out of the tunnel, of the pipe. And it's at this point when I want you all to roll initiative.
Alex.
Do I get that firebolt off by
Yeah,
any
you can get
chance?
that firebolt from me. I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah.
that firebolt. What's it gonna do? Kill someone?
Did we Finch every day? Do you do an inspiring speech for
Yeah, of
us?
course.
Okay,
Yeah.
You're
so
copying
every
me.
morning.
This is the second time we rolled initiative and the same thing.
What?
Helio's having a crisis.
What is happening?
What?
He can't bear to have anything in common with Jack.
Exactly.
That checks out.
Alright. I need you, although I don't think you're gonna be that useful in this combat, friend.
Why is my initiative majority of the times balls?
I mean, you got to be bad at something.
Yeah. It's this darn armor. I need new armor.
Well, finish this combat encounter, and next session you'll get new stuff. Or maybe...
Next session.
Oh, it's also 13 health in case you guys forgot.
What is this now? Oh, that's the water. Oh, but it's got a face.
Oh no. That's elemental.
Alright, guys. What if we just ran? That's always
How
an option.
deep is this little crater they're in?
Give me 1 second. I have to roll for the ice method. Come here, little boy.
Oh god.
That ice method, you say?
Yeah, an ice method. There we go. Alright, I need to make it so they're not rolling publicly. Stop rolling publicly, you dumb boys. Roll only to me.
Rat. Stairs.
My sister calls everything a rat, and she actually I'll at the end of the session I'll show you guys. This is a complete tangent, but so my sister was looking at this. So you know, like around Christmas they all send you like those like weird magazines, you know, that have like, you know, weird foods and stuff in them, and they sent us one with a chocolate mouse, like a chocolate sculpted mouse on the back, and it was called Chris the Mouse, and my sister called it rat candy.
Oh no.
She's not wrong.
But let me pull up some combat music.
So does that mean it would be called Randy for short?
Randy. I just love that it's called Chris the Mouse. Like, it had a name and everything. Like, they named him Chris the Mouse. So fun. So festive. He was wearing a little hat.
Is it supposed to be a play on Christmas? Chris Mouse?
I mean, if that was the joke, I think that they missed it. I think they missed the joke.
Yeah, they screwed that up.
Because it's just like a cartoon mouse that they just put a hat on and molded chocolate out of it. Everything with this stupid Discord bots is a struggle, a challenge. I said it last session and I'll say it again. YouTube, if you're listening, just make the bot already. I'll pay you like the $2 you want for the bot. Please. I promise. Alright. Eric's not in the turn order. Nobody should be in the turn order. Clear all turns. Yes.
I can see them trying to buy Discord instead.
Whatever, man. I don't care if they're selling all my data. I just want to be able to play music in the bot without it, like, freaking out and having, like, a problem. I don't want cocktail sauce recipes. No. Ridiculous. Ridiculous.
It's already started.
Alright. Hey, everybody. You should re-roll your initiative so that way, it will work. You can edit it though to make it so you have the initiative you had last time. Just
we get 23.
23 is for you guys, yeah.
23.
After we
Yeah, just re-roll it and then edit in your old value.
No, I didn't click on my goddamn token.
You're all big boys and girls. You can do it. Bless my friends, but sometimes they made me a little mad. They always made me do it, and I'm like, guys, guys, it's not... Oh, this guy rolled the same initiative twice in a row. Nice job for him. Oh, can he only roll once?
Mine's not changing. Oh.
Okay. I was gonna say, I could try and fix it for you. Who is not in Water Elemental? Go. That was a much better roll, but you're not an 18, you're a 12. Alright, 17, but you actually rolled a 4. Alright. Helio, you're up. Your friends have yelled at you to stop pulling the lever, but it sounds like there's still machines down there, still churning away. Would you like to pull the lever again?
I was yelled at to stop, so I should probably stop.
Okay. Who knows? Maybe you'll pull the lever and something good will come out.
Right? It does sound like a tempting idea, but I'm just gonna like fly back here and be like, what? What are you talking about? What's wrong? And then that's all I'm gonna do.
Alright. Jack!
I think I see a little something here, so I guess I'll use I'll dash this way.
Okay.
And be like, what the fuck? What is that?
Jack,
Alright.
you have seen... Now, first you saw a bunch of black liquid spill from the pipe and began burrowing into the ground, just devouring the, sheer ground below it. And then, coming out of the pipe, you saw a big tidal wave of water, and it was surrounded by, what looked like little ice cubes at first, coming with the water. But then the ice cubes kind of hopped out of the water and turned into little demon-looking boys who are hovering around.
I will get to about right here.
Okay.
And then... Oh!
Which one are you attacking?
The ice buffet.
Ice Mephit? Okay.
Yeah.
That will
And
hit the Ice Mephit. And I have to pull up
second
a
one.
calculator so that I can... Are they going to the same Ice Mephit or one of the two Ice Mephits?
the same one.
Alright.
The one in the front.
I think the Ice Mephit takes all that damage. It does take all that damage. Look at that. Alright. You hit two, that's a small target, that Ice Mephit, and you expertly aim, you kind of, stick your palm out, you're kind of, one eye closed, squinting with the other, trying to, aim it, and you get two nice, perfect shots, bang, bang, right into this Ice Mephit, and it kind of, it had this graceful takeoff where it kind of, flew out of the, crashing wave into the air, but then you kind of foil that plan by kind of knocking it to the ground slightly. But it is not dead.
Did you see that, Finch?
Yeah.
Alright, just checking. That's my turn.
Okay.
Okay. Lady.
I mean, I sort of assumed that the one that Jack just shot is not happy, but do the rest of the creatures look at all hostile towards us or even aware of us?
No. Well, it's kind of hard to gauge. Give me an insight check, because it's hard to gauge the feelings of water.
Inside the water.
But I'm real good with nature.
Well, with that insight check, you'll be fine. So
I can tell.
Yeah, you're looking at this water, and you're 80% sure this water is not good water. This is bad water.
In that case, what's the range on this? Oh, dang, that's a 300-foot range. Okay, that's fine. Lydia's gonna try one of her new spells that she hasn't tried before.
Okay.
And she is going to cast Ice Storm
Ooh, okay.
on everybody.
Okay.
It's like a 20-foot radius, so it should catch all of them.
Okay. Do you mind telling me where I'm centering it on?
20-foot radius, so probably just like right outside of the pipe, and then
Okie dokie.
Around
I just was
here.
curious because I wanted to see if I could cheat and make it a radius of the black ooze, so that way, because he's not moving anywhere, so might as well make him dually useful.
yeah, that works.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Okay, radius, and you said 20 feet?
Yeah.
Save settings. Okay.
So yeah, it's 20-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder.
Each creature in the
Anyone-
cylinder makes
yeah.
a... Okay. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Each creature makes a dexterity saving throw. Dex. I think these guys have... no. Okay. And a creature takes blah 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 blah, and half as much on a successful one. Hailstones turn the storm's area effects into difficult terrain. Okay. Give me both those damages.
It's 7 bludgeoning and 15 cold above the
Ah,
spell
okay.
script. Yeah.
Alright. So this method is dead. As it kind of gets up to start flying again, a single hailstone like flies right down, just as it sticks its head up, like looking around to see what was going on, and then like a single hailstone like clocks it right in the side of the head, and it just kind of falls like dead on the ground. The second one, I have to do math because I'm terrible at math. That should be 14. But let me double check my math. Yes. All right. The second one does not seem affected by the snow and ice, but
Yeah.
does not seem to like being hit in the face by hailstones. So it will take some damage. And all right. All right. And the water boy also does not seem to like this whole vibe. You'll see that some of the water, as it begins coming out of the pipe, begins to freeze, which, you know, you've got a vibe on this water at this point with that insight. You can tell that the water is not liking that, not liking the whole being frozen thing. Yeah, it doesn't really like that, and it doesn't seem like the bludgeoning damage is doing much to it, though. It seems like the hailstones are kind of just going straight through it. But the cold,
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
you know, the cold doesn't like that, doesn't like being frozen. Anything else?
That was what my action. I'm going to. Why not? I'll bonus action wild shape into. Let's do a giant owl.
Okay.
I don't think I have a token for that, but
I don't either. How's about you spend the next turn making a token for a giant owl, and when I get back to you, I'll put it on the map.
I don't know how to make tokens.
Go to token stamp. Go to this link. Token
Roll advantage.
stamp. Yes, token stamp. Roll advantage. Just type in token stamp, and it's token stamp 2, and then just use the red outline on it, so that way it looks like, you know, a proper token. But then everything else, you're good. I believe in you. Be free, child. All right, Finch.
Wait, did you put the link somewhere?
Oh shoot! Here, I'll put the link.
Doodle over here. I lied. I'm gonna skadoodle over here.
What will you fazoodle? Fazoodle.
I'm gonna
Scoodle
skadoodle a
fazoodle.
light bolt through all 3 of them.
All right, give it to me. Give it to me.
I love it.
Why'd you not roll for me?
All right, all 3 have to make me dex saves.
You sick?
Where's my
Oi.
boy?
Why? Why is there so many ones?
That is a lot of
What is
ones.
that?
Woof.
Ugh.
What the fuck?
Wow. Wow,
By the way,
wow,
that's 21
wow.
damage, and there's such a pussy rolls I've ever seen.
Alright.
Yeah, I think that's the worst lightning bolt I've seen in a while.
Ever
Alright.
is my take on it.
What do they have to beat to take half damage? What's the
16.
16? Okay, so then this ice method dies.
To be fair, I use this spell a lot and have rolled almost all ones every time.
Alright. The water boy does not seem happy. Does not seem happy. Yeah, water boy is not seeming like he enjoys the whole, first being frozen and then being shocked. Definitely not enjoying that. The water boy is also not going to enjoy taking some damage when it touches the acid boy. But he's going to run away from the acid. He'll go there. And it will...
Oh. It got real close.
It did get real close. Hey, Vesper. None of those hit you, I can guarantee it.
Okay.
Oh shit! It can't do what it just did. Never mind, I lied. I lied. He can only go to here because he was frozen. Oh no. Vesper, you're up.
Okay, well, I saw that it doesn't like ice,
It does not.
and I had this spell prepared just in case for the Dark Weaver thingy, so I want to try it on this water elemental thing.
Okay.
Did I put it into here? I did not, but I can click it through D&D Beyond.
D&D Beyond.
There's a D&D. Oh, I clicked it twice on accident.
On
Whoops.
save. Okay. Alright, it will fail. And it will take
So,
another 16 damage.
On a failed save, it's hindered by ice formations for 1 minute, or until it or another creature within its reach of it uses an action to break away the ice. So a creature hindered by ice has its speed reduced to 0.
I think I'm gonna call that this thing dead, because if it can't move, I mean, like, it's I'm gonna say that it's dead, because, like, that to me implies that it fully freezes over. And it already is starting to freeze because it's in this thing. And it says here if it's frozen for more than a couple rounds, then it dies instantly. So I'm gonna assume that it's dead, unless somebody wants to actually really fight this thing through.
Alright.
Silence.
Alright. No giant owl for you, Liddy. Ha ha ha. Your
I mean,
friends...
I can still turn into one?
You still can't turn into a giant owl. I mean, like, if that's what you want.
If that's your dream,
It is my dream.
don't let it just be your dream.
Don't let your dreams be dreams. Alright.
Oh.
No dung defender. No. There we go. Alright.
Well, if that killed that guy, then this guy's still up, right?
Yes.
Okay.
However, upon closer inspection, it seems that he is just ineffectually drilling through the ground.
We've experienced one of these before, right?
Yes.
Yes.
It took off Yuri's toe, so I mean it was very like passive when we
It was a
saw
small
it,
toe.
but like it didn't outright attack us. It was Yuri who went up to it. Yeah, it hurt him, but he was the one who went up to it. So, do we want to just leave it alone, or Wait, Helio, can you levitate it and put it back in the tube?
I
thought
can
we kill
levitate
it.
it, but I don't think I can put it back in the tube. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I probably could.
You want to try and put it back in the tube?
Let me check something real fast. That doesn't help. Damn it. Where are you? Okay. I need to check something fast because I, for some reason, can't remember.
Good.
Sorry, I'm taking forever.
You're good. You're good.
Okay. Yeah, I could attempt to put it back in the tube.
Do you want to attempt to put it back in the tube?
I mean, we don't want to just leave it out in the open for anybody to come across it. I mean, yeah, it's burying itself in the ground, but still.
I have an idea. What if I pull the lever again and see if something can come out to deal with it?
Oh, you pulled that thing 3 times, and, well, except for the first time, everything else was kind of, yeah.
But I really feel like if I just do it one more time, it'll fix our problems.
I mean, that's sound logic, I think. Right?
To be fair, Helio's ideals is no limits. Nothing should feather the infinite possibility inherent in all existence.
Sounds like to me that you want to pull that lever again.
He's gonna
Helio.
be inching closer to
Helio.
the lever. But I think if we just do it one more time.
You pull that thing one more time, and what if something bigger comes out? And then we have to spend more time here trying to fight it. And we're trying to do something for Finch right now. It's just gonna waste more time.
But just one more. He's just kind of like floating here with his hand on it.
I hope it's a red dragon.
You want to pull the lever again?
Just one more time.
Does anybody want to try to help me talk sense into Helio, or are you going to let him pull this lever?
Helio, roll me a d20.
Where is he?
Liddy Owl
Helio.
I
flies
don't even
over
see
to
him.
perch on top of the pipe. Oh, I can't see anything if I do that.
Yeah, you can do it. Where did you go?
I'm down here.
Where did Liddy Owl go?
Helio. We don't know who
Oh, you didn't
owns
put
this.
the owl on the map, I don't think.
Oh, Liddy Owl. I'll make Liddy into Liddy Owl. Give me 1 second. Liddy will become Liddy Owl shortly.
Liddy Owl!
Oh, great Liddy Owl.
A giant owl who somehow still looks small and adorable.
I
Oh,
love that
great
picture
Liddy
of the
Owl. Oh, greatest Liddy Owl.
Or here,
Where
maybe
shall
she'll
you
perch
go?
over here.
Okay.
She'll perch over here.
Alright.
I don't have control of that
I will
token.
give you control of him in just 1 sec.
Sorry.
You're good, you're good. Alright, you should have control over it.
I do.
Amazing. Okie dokie. Helio, are we pulling that lever one more time?
Hey, Helio. What if you're taking someone's stuff? We don't know if that lever's part of an experiment or someone's work. You might just be ruining their day.
But
Helio!
what
But
if I'm not?
what if you are?
But we'll never know until I do.
Oh
We
my-
already know because you've done something and it's made everything worse.
But what if this one time it makes things better?
Helio, I
It
believe in you. You
won't.
should pull the lever. Helio, pull the lever.
Helio!
Pull over, Helio.
Helio, pull the lever.
You're gonna
Helio,
have to
no.
pull him away from the lever if you want it to stop.
How far does Mage Hand reach? 30 feet?
Wait a minute, I have gust of wind. Worst case.
You accidentally push the lever.
Hey, did
Are
you
we still
drop
at
that? Did you
initiative?
drop that ice? No, you're not in initiative. Don't worry. Did you drop that ice thing?
Lasts for a minute.
Okay.
The ice, Ring.
Oh yeah, the ice storm. Who was it? Liddy who had the ice storm?
I did Ice Storm.
Are you
yeah.
still casting it or no?
It's just a one action.
Okay, so it's just
One
one
and
action.
done.
Okay.
You just walk up and snatch Helio out of the air.
She's gonna full on fly swat Helio with her tail.
Been there. Oh.
Hey, Liddy Owl, give me a perception check.
Oh.
If you have advantage, if Liddy Owl has hearing perception check, then she can give me advantage.
Hearing.
What if I'm freeing these creatures from a
Helio.
world of torture?
What if they're bad creatures that are just going to ruin everyone's day, like the one you summoned already?
You hear clanging in the pipe.
She'll start hooting. Hoo-hoo.
Hooting. Hooty hoo.
Is there any signs or anything anywhere?
Nope.
Like,
I mean, you can give me an investigation check.
what is the statue?
Which statue?
23.
Investigation. Well, the first thing you look at is, so you start investigating these things. First of all, the lever and the pipe, in contrast to just about everything else around here, is like rusted or like, you know, decaying. The pipe and the lever are like brand new, like polished to a spit shine. Either they are brand new, like fresh off the assembly line, or they have been like very well kept and have not like withered away with time. Same with like the gears and all the machinery that is like open to the world. You would think if this was some kind of old dwarven contraption, it would have faded away by now. Like it would have either stopped working or at the very least like looked a little bit rough around the edges. But otherwise, it looks like very good condition. The same can't be said for the stone sort of like pedestal it sits on. Which, though it definitely at one point had carvings in it to kind of like make it look very nice, those have faded away with time. You try your best to kind of decipher them, and there's like maybe some like figures there that you can make out, like maybe like dwarven gods or something, but nothing that would hint to the purpose of the lever. And all around you are just the ruins of statues and other things, which don't particularly seem to relate to the lever and are more just like artifacts of dwarven civilization.
I just want to pull it one more time.
No.
Liddy starts hooting a little more urgently and like is flapping her wings a little bit, trying to get everyone's attention.
Can we
Liddy.
not do this right now? We've already gone off our path for so long. Can we just focus for just a little bit?
Yes, on the lever.
You give a sigh and be like, okay.
Hey, Liddy Owl. You see a small ice mephit peek out from the pipe. Like, you know, do like the like cartoon thing where he like peeks his head around the corner and like looks both ways. And not seeing you, the ice mephit continues to sneak out of the pipe.
Liddy Owl will try to make a swoop and grab it in her talons.
Okay. Are you gonna try to hurt it or just grab it?
Just grab it.
Okay. Liddy Owl does not even have to give me a save or anything for that because Liddy Owl is much bigger than this small ice mephit. And the ice mephit, once grabbed, will start freaking out like, put me down! I don't know if he can actually talk in common, but he will, in whatever languages he can say, put me down. He can't speak common, but he'll say, put me down.
Float over.
Liddy Owl will kind of fly to the other side on the upswing of her swoop and just kind of land over here, still holding on to it, and like cock her head at it and like look like she's very much resisting the urge to just kind of peck at it a few times.
Okay.
Wait, don't hurt it.
It's like wildly flailing, like its limbs are flailing and it's like trying its best to get away.
This like
Go ahead.
would charm work on this? Charm person, if it can talk.
It can talk.
Is that humanoid?
Is it what?
No,
humanoid?
Yeah, I don't think it's humanoid. I think that
It's an elemental.
yeah, not humanoid.
Helio's gonna walk up or float up to him and be like, "Hello," and he's gonna say it in Aquan.
Ah, hey. All right.
Okay.
It will like look at you and like will like acknowledge that it can understand what you're saying, but still being held by a giant owl, will continue yelling, "Put me down! Put me down!"
If I convince the owl lady to put you down, will you not run away?
It will nod very like, yes, I won't run away.
Okay. Can I insight that?
Yes, you can. It seems pretty scared of the giant owl. It seems more inclined to do what you say than like run away and test its luck against an owl that's like 5 times its speed.
Then I'm gonna look up at lady and be like, "It promises that it won't run away if you put it down."
She will slowly open her talons and take a few shuffling steps backwards, but like still keep a pretty sharp eye on it.
Okay, all right. It will like hover up into the air, and it will hover there and just kind of like look at you guys like, okay, what next? What now?
What are you doing here?
He'll look at you and with a kind of like confused expression. I don't know if ice methods can express emotion. I guess they can. He'll say, "1 second! I was in a cave! Now I'm out in the open! Where am I? What is this place?"
Are there others in the cave?
He'll shrug and say, "It's pitch black down there. I can't see a thing."
Well, that's fair, I suppose.
Well, now Helio wants to climb on the pipe.
Guys, we have a quest ahead of us. I understand that there's something going on here, but as much as I want to get it myself, you have stuff to do.
We don't have to push every button.
But if we don't press every button, we'll never learn what they do.
Helio, if you pull that lever one more time, I'm putting you in my pocket.
So what do you know about this thing? Nothing? What is this?
It will shrug again and it will say, "I've been down there a long time. I'm grateful to be out."
What do you plan to do while you're out?
He'll look around, and upon seeing the lever and putting 2 and 2 together, I'm assuming, will just stare idly at the lever.
Holding firebolt, Finch will kind of stand back. If he goes for the lever, she's gonna blast him.
She's gonna blast him.
Blast.
Blast.
You want to pull the lever?
It will look at you, and with the most sure nod you've ever seen in your life, it will shake its head yes.
Helio doesn't know what to do with it.
Let's just add to the menagerie and head on our way.
You're going to keep that thing?
I mean, we kept
Add it to the menagerie.
What if it freezes Bruiser? Do we even know what these things
I
do?
think Bruiser can kill this thing. I'm being completely honest.
Bruiser can't kill
Bruiser,
this
I
thing.
can confidently say it can take this in a fight.
You know, that is a good point, because Bruiser can breathe fire, can't he?
Okay, but what
Yeah.
about Jaro? Maybe you should give me Jaro and you hold him.
I don't like the way you're saying that, so I'm gonna go ahead and say no. Firebolt.
Firebolt! Okay, give me the firebolt.
You moved.
Oh, that's great.
Oh.
Oh.
Ugh. It is not dead. but it does not like the fire. It does not like the fire. Oh, actually, no. Roll that damage again. Actually. Yeah, it doesn't die. Doesn't die. But looks a lot worse for wear. Does not seem to enjoy the whole being set on fire thing. And it lets out another blood-curdling "Ah!" as it's on fire.
Tell it
So
not to move, Helio.
she says not to move.
It will, do you one better, and it will change into an ordinary shard of ice and drop to the ground.
Nice. I'll grab and put it in a jar.
What does Helio know about ice methods?
Helio would know. Let's see what Helio would know about ice methods. Give me one moment.
That one of the things he studies is elementals.
Tentatively, anything you would know about ice methods, Helio would also certainly know. But I'm gonna Google just in case to see if there's
These
anything.
little things are evil, so
Yeah, not exactly friendly boys. Yeah, you just would know that they're kind of evil boys.
We traded a frost giant for a frost nymph fairy thingy, whatever.
Yeah, just
This is what we
evil,
keep him.
kind of not very friendly boys. They don't particularly play nice with others. You also know that they were used by some nobles to keep their food chilled.
Oh god.
what? Well, that's actually pretty good to know. Would I also know what it just did?
Yes, you would know that it can basically disguise itself as a chunk of ice at any point it wants to.
Okay. Do you want to put this in your bag?
I think
It's
it's in a
still
jar.
alive. Oh, that too.
Yeah, sure. I'll put it in like a little jar. Just
Okay.
write ice
Um,
method on the outside.
yeah, you can put one jar of ice method into your inventory. And now you have an ice method pet.
What has the blob been doing the whole time?
The blob has continued sinking into the ground. Once it gets about, I think, 10 feet underground, it will stop sinking into the ground and will kind of just remain as a puddle down there.
We know it's dangerous. No one's gonna try and touch it. Let's just kill it.
The blob?
Yeah.
It is 10 feet underground.
I
Kill
can
it.
just shoot some eldritch blasts at it and just continually do that for like a minute until it dies.
I'm gonna go burn it with fire.
Are
Okay.
we sure it can die?
I'm just gonna repeatedly fire
You know, I
blast.
don't know. I can't remember what we knew about it when we first
I
came
don't
upon
even
it.
know if it's alive. I don't know.
It's like how a virus is alive, you know, like they're like they border on between life and not life. But after shooting enough, magic at it, it does seem to like fizzle out and kind of like, though it's not gone, it's definitely like reduced.
Okay.
So, does anybody have any magic that could bury it? Like, pick up dirt and bury it?
Is the ice method still like, are you guys holding the ice method out?
Yeah,
She put it in a jar.
Yeah.
the boy now.
Okay. I was gonna say if the ice method was still out, I would have input on this, but I guess if it's in the bag, no input for Mr. Ice Method.
Helio would just start using Mage Hand to scoop dirt into
Okay. Yeah, you can get a nice thin layer of dirt over top of it. Not enough to maybe like if somebody fell down the hole, they might not immediately be killed.
He's like, huh? See? Huh?
I mean, druids have a stone shape spell. I don't have it prepared, but we could always pretend that Ava did.
Oh yeah, Ava. Yeah, Ava will lop a piece of the statue off and will like perfectly fill the hole with the stone and create like a nice stone platform right there. There we go.
Here we go.
And then Ava will give you a thumbs up before disappearing into the void again. It's like that GIF. I've got to find that GIF now. Oh man, that's gonna kill me if I don't find that GIF.
What's Jack doing?
Yeah, what is Jack doing? Is Jack gonna pull the lever? Please pull the lever.
I mean, after seeing what a ruckus it caused, probably not. I mean, at least if Finch doesn't want the lever pulled.
No. Why would the lever pulled? Slightly,
Well,
but no.
Finch is a bit of a rebel, you know. Just to make sure.
You've been sidetracked long enough.
Let's go.
This is
I'm gonna
sidetracking.
fireball the crap out of this thing and leave.
Okay. So are we leaving?
Yeah.
Last call for lever pulling action.
Yeah.
Alright.
Oh, we should destroy that lever before.
Oh, we should.
No, I mean,
Can I
it's
smash it?
It's not really our property. I don't know if we
Firebolt the
should
lever.
destroy it.
Yeah, as Elio was just lectured about.
Look, we
It-
know
it
bad
belongs
things
to
happen
someone
when
else.
You pull the lever.
Are you guys gonna destroy the lever?
Can I make a sign that says "Do not pull the lever"?
We'll only encourage
Why,
people to
like-
pull it.
That would,
Okay.
I think that reverse psychology.
Ooh, I have an idea. Let's put a sign on it that says shrinks your dick.
What?
Shrinks your dick. What if people that don't have a dick will want to push it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my best idea.
I can smash it. I can jump down and go
No,
over to
that's
it
your
and smash it.
solution to everything, Vespa. Just smash it.
Well, yeah, it works the majority of the time.
Are you gonna
Just
smash it?
saying, I was just given a lecture that it didn't belong to me, so I shouldn't. use it.
I'm not using it. I'm breaking it so that other people like you don't use it.
But what about the owner? Then the owner is going to be really, really upset.
Well, then
But
the
the
owner
owner
should have
is
put a
the one that
sign
gets
on
it.
it.
As your leader, I'll have to pay for it.
Okay, I smash it.
Smash it? Okay.
Okay.
Give me an attack roll. And then roll me another d20 on top of that.
No. That's why I was gonna use firebolt. Oh no.
Mhm.
Okay.
Be a lesson to you, Vespa.
Alright. So your maul connects with the lever very well. And you even manage to like take a nice chunk of it, like the handle part of the lever kind of comes off. However, your force is your force that you hit it with is so strong that it like knocks the lever forward, and then it quickly pulls itself backward before righting itself again. And out of the pipe comes.
And I wasn't trying to turn the lever. I was trying to smash it.
Well,
You did. And when you did, it's probably
But if you
permanently
smash
on
it-
now. It's probably
if you
permanently
smash
on.
it from the top, it doesn't move it.
Hmm. Maybe it does. You don't know.
Oh, stupid lever.
well, out of the pipe comes
Why?
some music. You just hear some reverby, tinny music playing out.
You're leaving. Not today.
He's like, "Where you going? What?" He's just gonna look kind of like
Where's
follow.
French? French, let's
Lydia
go.
will follow
is
her
dumb.
friends.
Okay. Yep, it's just a tinny
that.
kind of, just a jovial song that just comes out of the pipe. But as you leave,
Water elemental, not scary. Ice methods, not scary. Some pretty music, and all of a sudden, Elio does not understand this world's customs.
it's like that video. Man, I've been having so many like flashbacks to like 5-year-old memes. But it's like Arkansas, like Kansas, make it make sense, America. You know, like that video.
I love that video. Kansas, why is this not Arkansas? America, explain.
America, explain.
that.
Yeah,
I love her voice.
I do. Yeah, I
I
love it.
watched that for hours.
That is literally Helia right now. America, explain.
Exactly. Everyone explain.
Ice Mephit, fine. Water Elemental, fine. Black Ooze, fine. Music, no. Alright. I think with that,
Oh my
we
god,
will
yes.
we will arrive in Red Larch next week.
Real question: do we level up?
No! What do you think I am? You think I'm giving out free levels here? Those are expensive. I don't have in this economy. In this economy, giving out levels like that.
Through
Whew.
Empire Realm, Iggy.
Well,
For the Shadow Weaver.
well,
The Dark Weaver and the Vampire.
You guys are over leveled as it
Elemental.
is. You guys are over leveled as it is. Well, we're still catching you guys up to level 8. I was too generous with my levels beginning, so I have to tone the levels back a little bit.
You guys got greedy.
You got greedy, and now look where it gets
They
you.
delved too deep.
What level are you guys? Level
What did I
7?
level up? 8.
8, okay. Yeah, you guys are too high level. I need to wait until a little bit to give you guys levels.
That is your fault for giving it to us.
Yeah. Look at me.
We're spoiled.
Yeah, you guys are spoiled. You're spoiled children.
And no level up.
No level up. I do wish you guys would have pulled that lever more, because I have a full table prepared for the lever, and it has some fun things on it that I will now go over, because it does have a fun... It does have a fun thing. My favorite one, and I was so... I prepared this particular... Okay. So, my initial response to making a lever and a pipe was, they're gonna go in it. They're gonna go in the pipe. What do I do when they go in the pipe? That was the first thing. Which I'm stunned. Nobody tried to go in the pipe.
Liddy Owl thought about it.
I was considering setting anarchy down it.
I am absolutely stunned that nobody decided to go in the pipe. Like, that blows my mind. But so I had a use case for that. But the pipe included the following table that I wrote. So if you roll a 1 on the d20, the pipe clogs and cannot be used again, and anyone near the entrance takes 12d6 fire damage from an explosion. Very fun.
Ooh.
I didn't roll that while I was sitting there.
Number 2 was a single puff of steam. Number 3 was a silly noise, which is going to be the duck noise again. I was just going to play that like meh.
Yeah.
I was going to play that. And every time you rolled that, I actually had a list of 6 silly noises to play, because I figured that this was going to go on for a while before you guys gave up on the whole lever thing.
God.
Level 4, or not level 4, but number 4 was a thick cloud of smoke. Number 5 was pure, clear water pours out of the pipe for a few seconds. Number 6 was mephits and elementals. Number 7 was a flump named Blath appears out of the pipe and regales the
We
players.
could have had a flump.
Yeah, regales the players with his adventures within a dwarven contraption, and he tells you about all the riches it has to offer, but he also says that he couldn't uncover them. Number 8 is a single gemstone worth 10 gold pieces emerges from the pipe. Number 9 is my favorite because of how cryptic it is. A soggy hat splats onto the ground, accompanied by an equally soggy feather of an unknown bird. Loved that.
What?
Nice.
I love that one. Number 10, a good smell comes from the pipe. Once people are drawn near to it, however, it quickly turns foul. Everyone must make a DC 12 con save or vomit.
So the reason why Helio didn't go into the pipe, the only reason is because the first thing to come out of it was that, or the second thing to come out of it was that ooze thing that just melts shit.
Yeah.
He was fully prepared for there to be more in there, and he didn't want to deal with it.
Ye old black pudding.
Yeah. Number 11 was what you guys got. A jovial tune emanates from the pipe. It sounds pre-recorded and somewhat ominous. Number 12 is a gazer rolls out of the pipe, assuming it isn't killed by a beholder. Oh, shoot, that's actually... Never mind, I can't read that part. That's secret.
Yeah.
Number 13, Grey Ooze spills from the pipe. Number 14, an Intellect Devourer rolls from the pipe. Number 15, Abyssal screams and echoes come from the pipe. The sounds of dismemberment and combat, and the echoes of combat can be briefly heard from below. Number 16, a crawling claw emerges from the pipe. Assuming it isn't killed, it immediately skitters towards the lever, pulls it once more, and runs away.
I like that one the best.
Nice.
Number 17, a bottle filled with golden liquid emerges and drops to the ground. It rolls for a while before coming still. And then it would be a potion that I'm not going to spoil because I'm going to use it at some point because I really like it. Number 18, a dusk beast emerges. Number 19, a crewthink emerges. A crewthink. It's like a bug thing. And then number 20, a letter detailing the location of a buried treasure.
I stand by my opinions and say,
I
ask the lever.
legitimately thought you said a berry treasure. And I
A
was
berry
like,
treasure.
Okay, a treasure of berries. All right.
I mean, to be fair,
would
I
be
feel
all
like I
over
was gonna
that.
say I think that 4 out of our 6 group members would actively pursue a berry treasure.
Yes.
You've been sidetracked long enough. I just want to get back to the story.
Well,
Never.
no story for you. Never.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
I'm not sorry.
Although I made this encounter partially I wanted to see how it would go because I made this encounter like for you guys, but as I was making it, I was having so much fun doing it. I was going to make it like a bigger version for a one-shot I'm doing. Yeah, because
That's so cool.
I really liked this. I liked this little idea because I liked the idea of because pretty much all the enemies, their primary goal was to run over to the lever and pull it, just to create more nonsense, like, you know, for you guys to fight. So like the goal of the encounter, at least when I run it in this one shot, is going to be just to like players have to like balance their time between like defending the lever and not like killing what's coming out of the pipe. I don't know. I think it's fun. I like the idea.
I do like that idea.
I
I'll
love
probably
it.
steal it.
I know. I'm like, I want to make my own now.
I do quite like it. All right. Well, you guys did it. You beat the pipe. You beat the spider, and now you're back in the real world.
Halloween side quest over.
Halloween side quest over. What time is it? Christmas. Now we're on the Christmas quest. That's right. Next session, you guys are going to the North Pole.
I figured.
I mean, we are going to Neverwinter if we ever get there.
If we ever
Neverwinter.
get there. Yeah, they'll get there eventually, don't worry. Next session, you guys are going to be back on the right track, because next session is going to be our shopping session, which, hey, next session, come prepared with a whole list of things you want, and I will start doling them out for money.
Cash money.
Cash money. And
Alrighty.
I think that's it. I think that's everything.
Do we have a cap on the rarity for magic items?
Tentatively, no. I guess I would say like rare, you know, like nothing more rare than rare. But I mean, like, again, tentatively no. If it is a magic item that you're buying, unless it's like a common magic item, I'm probably gonna have you like, I'm gonna devise some roll to see if they even have it. You know, I'm not entirely sure how that's gonna work out yet. I was planning on just kind of doing it on the fly, but now that I have a week, I will make an actual like set in stone way to determine if they have the thing or not.
I just want mithril armor.
No, because you wanted to get back onto the story, and there's no mithril armor on the story.
There's no mithril armor in the story. Never. Now you have to languish. But, yeah, so next session, just come prepared, all of you, with a list of things that your characters might want to buy. No matter how outlandish it may seem. Bring it to the session, and I will let you know if it's allowed or not. But, other than that, thank you for playing, everybody. Thanks for coming. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedules to humor me and my silly, silly levers.
Yes, thank you for DMing.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
What type of mithril armor does Vesper want?
Maybe it's not mithril. It's the one that just doesn't give you disadvantage on stealth.
Well, there's.
I mean, we're not exactly the sneakiest group there is anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say you guys aren't exactly like sneaky
Yeah.
McGee's over here.
Sneaky McGee. I like it.
Yeah, secret squirrel's definitely not hanging out with you
secret
guys.
I mean, I can be a sneaky squirrel if you want me to.
that's true.
I love that.
What is Vesper's dex at? Your dexterity. What is it?
I'll tell you what Vesper's dex is at because I have roll
Got
20 pulled
rid
up.
of the thing. It's like 16? 16.
I'll tell you. I'll level check it. Yeah, 16.
Can you learn spells?
And I learn spells?
Yeah.
I mean, technically, yeah, that's how I've been.
Casting spells.
Yeah, so basically what I've been doing, it has to do with backstory stuff. But basically, she's got this little black book, and my way of explaining it is like spells appear within the book that could relate to what's going on in the like her life at the moment, and then she just reads it and learns it from that. But she uses that horn the unicorn horn as like a sort of arcane focus to help with that.
Okay. So I was just wondering if could Helio teach you? Well, I don't know if Helio has it now that I have it. I think Helio plans to learn just a bunch of spells. Mage armor gives you a base 13 plus dex. Would that be of any
It's
assistance?
the same as what I already have. I have a 16 AC with my chainmail.
That's pretty good.
You could wear medium armor. You could wear like a breastplate. That gives you 14 plus dex, max 2, so you could get 16. Oh, well, never mind.
I mean, you could wear half plate and it would give you 15, 16, 17.
I don't know, man. It seems D&D is pretty content on if you want to get higher than a 16, you kind of have to start trading things for it. It's kind of what D&D seems to want.
Yeah.
I mean, Ava and I both can have Pass Without a Trace prepared if we ever need it.
I don't know. I don't think you guys should worry about sneaking around. I don't think.
Yeah, we haven't at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's not exactly our priority.
Plus, you have 2 fairies. I mean.
Yeah, you guys have
really
you
need
have
someone to be
sneaky
sneaky.
friends.
Sneaky? No, we are bright as fuck. What do you?
It is. Yeah, it is hard to miss a fairy, but yeah, two small boys. I don't know. And like has been pointed out, definitely not the stealthiest party, which is how I plan most of my things is around you guys not being stealthy.
Well, they're probably not going to sneak in.
Yeah, that's exactly how like my planning sessions always start with like, okay, so they're not going to try to sneak into this place. How can I make that their entrance more interesting than simply walking in? You know. Oh, all right. Well. I'm out of here. Have fun with your weeks, gamers.
Yes.
I'll see you guys next week. Wish me luck, because I got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to open a Jimmy John's. Not tomorrow, but... Is that tomorrow? I honestly don't know. I've got to get up at 5 in the morning, either today or tomorrow. Not today or tomorrow. Tomorrow or the next day.
Why does Jimmy John's need to be open at 5 in the morning?
So we don't need to be open at 5 in the morning. What happens is, so we bake all our stuff, right? You know, we bake everything and we have to slice all the vegetables and, you know, all that nonsense. So somebody has to get there because it takes, to bake all the bread that you're going to need for the lunch shift, is going to take you 4 hours. So you need to get there 4 hours before the store opens because you can only bake 4 batches of bread at a time in the oven. And you only have one oven, so you have to get there at least 4 hours ahead of time, and that's if you're making an incredible time, and that's if you don't have any catering orders as well.
Oh my god, this is just
like
taking me
back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to just
I'll see y'all later.
go before I regale you with tales of food service. Woo!
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Peace out, guys.
Bye. Oh my